amazing time of my life. It was the golden era of skateboarding. Dad got booked to go to Japan with Hurley for 2 months. He's like, dude, just come. And I went with Shad and just showed up. Yeah, he did. The team manager didn't know I was coming. We'd go to Spain for a couple weeks, go to UK, we'd go to Sweden for a month, do another Red Bull, RV trip across Canada. We have our hands out the front window, wiping the windshield because we couldn't see. We had a going away party with axes and hammers. Wild life experiences. Broken bottle, glass to the throat. You want to hear the story because it's so good? If I stay in LA, I don't know if I'm going to last very much longer. Got it. They call me up and they're like, hey, we're doing a PR event in Lake Powell in a houseboat. Can you come and be our athlete? And they're like, dude, you've been doing marketing for 15 years. Yeah. I'm like, that's marketing? They grew 17,000%. So they went from like 900 grand in sales to 17 million in 1 year.
What is up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Small Lake City Podcast. I'm your host, Eric Nilsson. Now, this week's guest is James Atkin. Now, James is the current VP of marketing for the bag company founded and based in Salt Lake called Nomatic. But James's path of getting there is anything but typical. Being born and raised in St. George, Utah, he moved to California as a professional skateboarder, touring the world with all of the stories you could ever imagine. But as his professional skateboarding career came to an end, he pivoted his career towards marketing and used those 15 years of experience to his benefit. Now, this story is wild. There's so many ups, there's so many downs, everything from booking a ticket randomly to Japan to go skate and having a bottle up to his throat where he almost died, touring the world with Bob Burnquist, and everything in between. So you're going to love this one. This is one of my favorite episodes that I've ever recorded. So yeah, let's jump into it, and I hope you enjoy.
There's always a time for your first podcast.
I wish this was my first podcast. It's because I have the, I'm doing it for the 100th episode. I'm doing a solo one.
Yeah.
And it's like, because like there's certain things in life where you kind of just put your head down, and then all of a sudden you go out for air. You're like, oh, it's been 100. Yeah. And then all of a sudden I'm like, oh, we're like, similar with the first one, I was like, oh, 10th episodes, where it's like 20th, 25th, 50th, 75th. And I was like,
you're just running, you don't even know what's going on. And
kind of.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things that just becomes such like a part of your routine.
Yeah.
That it's like, okay, yeah, schedule people, record, do this, do that. And then all of a sudden I'm like, oh, it's been almost 2 years.
Yeah. Just straight heads down running. What podcast was this? 97, 98, anything, 95?
These are 98.
Yeah.
So one more and then the 100th, which
it looks cool, dude. Live.
It's like I've thought about it because like one thing I love about the conversations I have is they're very intimate. Like it's just me and you in a room. It's not like I'm like, and what is the
Yeah.
But I'm curious how much that will change things. And thankfully, the guest I have, she is someone who's a public speaker, so I'm not worried about something because like I've recorded with people. And,
yeah.
Because I've experienced both sides of the spectrum. I've had people where it's like, oh, this is my third one this week. Like let's just get going.
Yeah.
And there's people's like, oh, what's going on?
Yeah. That'll be a good vibe though, just having an audience, especially like an intimate setting,
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, it's fun. I make it a little bit more interactive, get people involved. But yeah, September 19th, Flanker downtown, Shireen Gorbani, who's someone it's fun to see, like, because I always explain it as there's leaf people, branch people, and trunk people.
Yeah.
And there's people, I mean, leaf people are, I do like a thing. I don't really interact with the community. I don't really have a say.
Yeah.
And then you have the branch people. It's like, okay, like you kind of
reach it out a little
bit.
Yeah.
You know who you are. You get involved. Then there's these people that have like their hand in everything, everything that's going on. So influential. Everybody looks up to him. And she's who I believe to be one of those.
Oh, sick.
So
she's even like passed the trunk to the roots, it sounds like.
Pretty much. Like there's a woman by the name of Missy Grice, who's the founder of Public.
Yeah, she's awesome.
So she's like, I would say she's for sure snuff.
Oh, okay.
So excited to sit down and talk with her because I've never talked to her before.
Yeah.
So
it looks cool.
Yeah, I'm excited.
If I was in town, I would do it. What day is it again? 17th?
19th. It's Friday,
I
September.
leave. Yeah. I'll be here the 17th, but not the 19th.
I'll
be there in spirit, my friend.
Hey, I'll feel you. I just look over and there's this like dark, like Vader, Anakin. He's just apparition in the back. Like, James, what the heck?
Most people would call me Casper, but I'll go with Anakin.
It depends on which Anakin. There's a lot of different ways.
Let's go the young Anakin. I'm not evil yet.
Yeah, just a kid who wants to pod race, just live life.
That was so good.
James Atkins. I'm excited about this one. Nomatic, VP of marketing. I've had my own experience with Nomatic. I kind of talked to you about it a little bit, but so I call him my cousin, but he's really my stepdad's late wife's cousin. Nephew.
That's a path.
So essentially my stepdad's dead wife's nephew.
Okay.
And so we went to college together, did a lot of stuff. He got into product design.
Oh, cool.
He helped out with Nomatic at the beginning.
Oh, it was Mike.
Yeah, Mike.
Oh, dude, he's the best.
Yeah.
He introduced us.
Yes.
Yes.
Exactly.
Freaking love Mike.
Great guy.
Yes.
And so it's been fun to see how much he helped with Nomatic get things started, how much, I mean, he does a lot of stuff for Sunday Golf.
He's a ninja, dude.
Just one of those guys that you just see like...
He gets it.
Yeah, he gets it. He can put it together and understands, executes, crushes it.
Yeah. That's awesome.
So it's fun to see him kind of start working on these backpacks. I'm like, okay, like backpacks. Yeah, cool, whatever. Do my thing. And then all of a sudden, when I was working at a previous job, it came up a lot. And all of a sudden, we were talking about just consideration marketing and like raising awareness of things.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, I know about it and I see it seeing it around the airport. I start seeing it on my friends. I start seeing it everywhere.
Once you finally recognize it, because like some of our bags, our camera bags and this bag and even the stuff Mike did, it's called our Navigator series. It's recognizable.
Yeah.
Right? Like this is a square bag that stands up by itself.
Yes.
Normally you'd be like, oh, weird. But then once you start kind of getting into it, you're like, dude, I see these.
Yeah.
Granted, you're in Salt Lake.
Yeah.
You're at the Salt Lake airport. You see it more. But even when I fly through like Denver or New York or something like that, we're now getting to that phase of the brand. I can't remember what the word is called, but it's when you see it at airports or, if you're a kid's brand, you see it at Disneyland or something, where you start seeing it more and you're like, dude, whoa, this is so different than 2 years ago.
Yeah.
I actually see our
from like the first time you're like working at, can I take a picture of there?
100%. You're nerding out on people. You're like, what's your name, man? Yeah, where'd you get that bag? Do you like it?
Yeah, all of a sudden you're like,
there's so many
everywhere.
I mean, I still do it. Like I just did it right now. Yeah.
Well, because it's fun. Like for context, we went upstairs to the top of Edison to the pool. I saw a friend of mine and introduced James to him. And he's like, I like your, like James to him was like, I like your backpack. So he had a Nomatic bag. And he's like, kind of like, thank you.
Yeah.
He's like, I work there. He's like, I have 4 different bags. This is what I do. I'm like, see? And that's like, they get hooked.
Yeah.
And it's nice because they are like, they're very on brand bags.
Yeah.
Like there is a consistent brand and feel to them.
For sure.
And there's a quality product. Like I never had someone have one and be like, it's fine.
Yeah. And he didn't know we were based in Salt Lake.
Yeah.
Which we are.
Yeah.
Just founded in Salt Lake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm excited to talk to you about, because I do want to talk more about your background too, because I think it's very interesting, especially someone from St. George originally.
Yeah.
Who was in snowboarding industry / skateboarding industry and then skating and then so much local product companies and just great product companies and would love, just hear about what made you go there, what you're excited about. But it even starts off with you in St. George working at these, like because I had a lot of friends and family in St. George. Okay. One of which was, she got into snowboarding in high school. So I got acquainted to lip tricks via that. And so it's fun to see like your first job was at school, which led to...
It was probably like my 10th job.
Oh, fair.
But I don't put like curb painting and changing brakes out on my LinkedIn profile.
Could you imagine if it made you put everything in?
Dude, I was a server. I did that. Especially growing up in like the 80s and 90s. Like I had a job since I was 12.
Yeah.
Of just the most random stuff.
Yeah.
Getting paid $5 to paint a curb. That was awesome. Or washing windows or whatever. You know what I mean? But yeah, they want your professional career, which those are all professional.
Everyone set the stage for the next one.
Yeah, totally.
But so skateboarding. Talk to me how you got into skating.
Well, I got into skating. First off, was I 5th grade? My neighbor was 3rd grade. He had a Bart Simpson board.
Yeah.
Which is like one you get at Walmart, like one of those, I don't want to admit to this, but we were also kind of rollerblading at the time a little bit, right? And so you'd go to the skate park, see skaters, and then I started trying to his board. But I grew up next to this school in St. George's, Bloomington Elementary. It's such a good skate spot. Like perfect 6-stair, double sets, ledges, everything. So all the skaters used to go over there. And one of them happened to be the guy that runs Lip Tricks now. So I would go over there. It was right after Halloween. This is like 1992. I'd take a bag of candy. And because the board that my neighbor had was like really crappy, right? Yeah. I'd take a bag of candy over there and I would offer them handfuls of candy if I could borrow their board for 10 minutes.
Hell yeah.
That's how I got into a real skateboard. And then I became friends with all those guys, right? And they were all 5 years older than me.
Yeah.
But they all had like little brothers my age and stuff. And so those kids ended up being my best friends because we all got into skating at the same time, like Christmas 1992. And so that was kind of how I started getting into it. Older legends in my eyes, letting you borrow their skateboards until I could convince my parents to buy me a board for Christmas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like that gateway.
Totally.
Into it.
It was a gateway with candy.
Yeah.
I was like, I didn't have a van, but I was giving away candy, to, they were kids, they were older than me, but yeah, they That's kind of how I started on a real skateboard.
No, actually, ironically enough, like I was a big rollerblader growing up.
Yeah.
Probably until a little bit in college, I started to leave it behind.
Dude, there's a huge rollerblade scene here.
Oh yeah,
Like Mike Scott and Tori.
Yep.
And what's the dude's name that had the video game? He had a rollerblade video game from up here.
Jaron Grove.
Jaron. Like when I moved to California to skating, I would see those guys all the time.
Yeah.
It was like, dude, Utah. And yes.
Because I like how you talked about like, the kids I made friends with were like 5 years older than me.
Yeah.
So in the same way, like I got introduced to it in 4th grade and then would go to Real Rise Skate Park here all the time.
So good.
And then that closed down and I moved away from that friend, so got away, but then got back into it and asked people to skate park. And all of a sudden, like, they're like, hey, just come hang out on Friday. And so I end up at this, like, I'm probably 14 or 15.
Yeah.
I'm at this guy's apartment who's like 22, 23. And it's like every age range is represented in there and it doesn't matter.
That only happened in action sports.
Yes.
And I just want to throw this out there. I hate using the term action sports.
Yes.
Because it's very corporate. But in skating, snowboarding, rollerblading, BMX, motocross, that thing where age doesn't matter happens. It's amazing.
Totally.
And it's not weird at all.
No.
Like all those guys that let me borrow their boards for the first time for a handful of candy, they all end up being my mentors. And they all moved to Salt Lake. And then we'll probably get into that, but that was like my connection as a young teenager was I would come up to Salt Lake all the time.
Yeah.
Like
Just on weekends with friends.
I'd just tell my parents I was staying at a friend's house and I'd literally fly up here.
I love that.
Because we got free flights. So I was like, I'm just going to jump on a plane real quick and go stay at this homie's house that's 19 having a rager.
Yeah.
And I was like super LES at the time.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to come and skate.
Yeah, that's all you want.
Yeah.
Very similar. Like I remember my mom would drop me off at my friend's house in like Kearns.
Yeah.
And like my mother I love my mother.
Yeah.
But she's also like from the east side, which is a pediatrician.
Oh yeah.
Just
yeah.
very like buttoned up, put together.
Same, yeah.
And then I wouldn't tell her everything. Sorry, Mom.
Not at all.
Granted, like I was actually like kind of, because I saw people do all sorts of like hard drugs.
Yeah.
Like I saw so many things.
Yeah.
Well, for some reason, I've talked to my therapist about it and she thought it was fascinating. Like I still had this like voice of responsibility of like, oh, if you do that, you know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Or if like you do that.
I was never into, I didn't get into that stuff until I was like traveling the world for skating. Like a little bit maybe in the late teens, but like in those days, like I just wanted to skate.
Yeah.
So I didn't care about,
like, oh, you're doing that? Cool.
I didn't care about drinking or smoking or anything like that. I was like, dude, you guys do your thing. I'm going to hang out.
Yeah.
Flirt with the older girls.
We're still going to wake up at 8 and go to that one.
You're that annoying kid in the morning. Like, hey, you guys good? Can we go?
I saw your eye crack open.
Yes, totally. Yeah. All the older dudes are hung over. Let's go. Yeah. Bright eyed and bushy tailed.
But yeah, talk to me about like that. transition into being the young kid that everyone's.
Yeah.
It's the grom that's chasing everybody.
Yeah.
So then being like, oh, like I'm doing this. This is now.
It was like it was my world, right? It was my like going into skating young age, and this was like the time, and it was probably the same with you for rollerblading, but like early 90s, like skaters were dirtbags, like they were the lowest of society, you know what I mean? So like you would
see punk
100%. It was the straight edge scene, it was the party scene, it was like everyone just looked at you like you did drugs basically, right? Like they were just the crappy kids, right? And so it was an interesting time because, like, I grew up in a small town. We knew everybody. My family's been there since 1860. Like, you're related to everyone, basically. And so I still got along with everyone, but they all, just people looked at you different, right? So it was not how you view skating today, where it's like in the Olympics and things like that. So you kind of had to endure through some stuff in those days. Cops like to talk to you a lot.
Yeah.
Put you in the back of their cars and get kicked out of spots. But it also, in those days too, it taught you so many good lessons of life, how to communicate with people, how to deal with hard people, skating alone. You guys have probably already heard Ian McKay or these other people talk about skating, of how it teaches you in your life about falling and getting up. Yeah, totally. Until you get it. It doesn't matter what it is. And I've taken that across my life and all, other different career paths and things like that. But, it was a really fun time.
Yeah.
It was very, a lot of crazy stuff in those days.
Definitely not your typical experience that people get to have if they.
Yeah. So I was just like crazy passionate about it. It's all I did. It's literally like all I did for like 20 years till I was like 29, basically, when I went back to school in my late 20s during the recession.
What was the change that happened then?
It was like, it was probably actually when I got a job at Goal Zero is when I stopped skating as much.
Okay.
Because I was still like, I still had a board in my late 20s when I hit 30, 31. But it was really during the recession is when like sponsorship dollars started slowly drying up. And so me and my girlfriend at the time moved to St. George. We're both living in LA. And so, should we go back farther? Or should we just go there?
Should go.
Yeah.
Hit me with your best shot. Fire away.
I mean, there's all this, there's a long story there, but like,
Yeah, let's go down the middle. Because I do want to hear the context. Because again, to have that take so much of your life, all the steps does, and then have that taken out from under you, or like not taken out from under you, but to have to go through another change in life to something different.
Well, like just bringing up steps, it's such an interesting concept because there's always this first step that a lot of people forget, and it's the hardest step, and it's something usually psychological that gets people to do stuff. So I'm living in St. George. I'm working at the skate shop, so I'd go to trade shows and things like that. And I was also homies with a lot of the snowboarders in Salt Lake and all the old skater dudes. Yeah. So I came up for all the contests. All the forum dudes were homies, rode for a board company up here. So I was coming up to Salt Lake all the time. And go down to trade shows in San Diego for the skate shop. And so I was, just finishing high school, and I went to a couple, like I went to Tampa Am, which is like a big amateur contest, which was like a huge eye opener for me. And, I was at that point in my life where I'm like, do I go on a mission? Do I go into the military? Do I move to California? And I was still living at home. So I graduated high school. I had a girlfriend, started going to college. It's called the dumb shit letter in my family when you start messing up in your parents' eyes. Yes. Living in their home, got a letter mailed to me. Showed up in our mailbox.
Hey, you got a letter from someone here. I'm just going to give it to
I think your dad wrote this. And it basically gave you three options, right? It's like you either go on a mission, you get married because I had a girlfriend, or you move out. And I was just like, oh, okay. Right around that same time, my girlfriend broke up with me. And I always wanted to move to California. Yeah. The mission thing, I was like back and forth, it's just bred into you, right? Yeah. So out of 8 kids, I'm number 7. I was the first to not go on a mission. I actually tried to go. I went in, it was a new bishop, and I told him everything. Yeah. And he's like, we're going to give it a year. Well, come back. The first time I met him, he's like, yeah, I think you go probably in 2 months. I was like, oh, really? Come back next week. He's like, yeah, it's going to be at least a year. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah. So I'm going to California.
Yeah, I'm moving to California. So, the step for me was my girlfriend broke up with me, totally destroyed me. I'm 19, and you know what I mean? And she moved to California to her dad's house. And I was like, what the F? I've been trying to go there forever.
It's my dream.
Can we swear on this podcast?
Of course.
Oh, okay. And so what I did is, I'm in this really deep depressed state, but 3 months earlier, I went to that contest in Florida, and I met a bunch of people, right? Not a ton, but I met people.
Was it a park contest or street contest?
It was a park contest, indoor park. Tampa. It's the Tampa park. Yeah. So a good homie from Vegas named Ragdoll was there. We were already homies. I introduced him. He introduced me to Jamie Thomas. And then I introduced John Ollie to Jamie Thomas. And so it was just we were meeting all these people. This is how it is, right? I had a free flight to get to Tampa from Vegas. Flying standby. It was Martin Luther King weekend. I was 100th on the standby list. I was stuck in the Vegas airport as a just little Mormon white kid from St. George for 24 hours. Finally made it there. I had one night hotel. I had Lip Tricks, the skate shop, booked me one night. That was my sponsorship, right? I was like, if you give me one night, I could find homies and I could stay in homies, in their rooms, right? Yeah. Which happened, right? So we're staying at the Zero room and all these other homies' rooms and stuff like that. So I became friends with a couple people. Probably had 2 or 3 people that I stayed in contact with in California. This is pre-cell phone days, right? Yeah. So this is not even, emails are around, but
it's a bunch of skaters that have emails.
Home phone. Yeah, totally. This is 99, 2000. And so girlfriend breaks up with me. So I was like, okay, I'm moving to California. Right. So I start working at a call center to save up money just to go down there. Contact this dude who ended up being LDS too. I was like, hey, I'm going to move down there. Can I stay on your couch for a month? Right. He happened to be the Duff's team manager, the Duff Shoes team manager. Yeah. Still texts me this day. We're homies for life. Right. And so I save up, I think it was $1,000. This call center, I cannot sell people stuff that is not valuable to them. So I was just getting hourly wage, right? I'd get in calls with people and you have your whole script and you're supposed to sell them this and you're supposed to get their credit card information so they can run it, see what their limit is. And then you offer them whatever their limit is, right? I couldn't do it. I just made homies with all these people. So I'd be calling this buddy in Tennessee and, they're all they don't have money. Yeah. So these companies they're the kind of, have you seen the Boiler Room? Boiler room? Yeah, it's literally that. Like we're in one day, you'd go to the office and it would be completely wiped clean. There'd be no desk or anything. It was super sketchy.
Yeah.
So I would actually tell customers we were calling to not buy the stuff. So
like just stay on the call for me so it looks like
I was really good at like talking with people and getting them to like engage and like
if you don't care about what you're
and I was just like, hey man, you got like $4,000 on your credit limit. Don't buy this. Like invest in something else. Get to school. You know what I mean? And I'm young. I'm not a life coach or anything. I can't tell them anything going on. So I saved up enough money, and then it was the art festival going on in St. George at the time, and two homies from Salt Lake, Jared Smith, Snuggles, the mural artist up here.
Oh yeah.
And Tully Flynn. I ran into them. I was like, you guys, because I was homies with all the Salt Lake people. I'm like, I'm moving to California. Come with me. And they're like, oh, okay, maybe. Because we all of us, anyone that was in skating up in Salt Lake, I was really the only one in St. George at like the level that would want to move to California. There was like 2 or 3 others actually. Everyone wanted to move to California, or you get into snowboarding.
Yeah.
So like Nate Bozong, who was on Forum, like we were best friends, and he was trying to make the decision: do I go to California or do I stay and snowboard? Right. Yeah. So he stayed and snowboarded, and I moved to California. So I stay at this dude RP Best's house for a month. I get put on duffs. Right. Wasn't getting paid yet. Start bussing tables at a Mexican restaurant. And it was like the lowest part of my life because I was so depressed from doing it.
Broken heart. Earl broke your heart.
Yeah.
Like it's a lot.
And I really did only know like 2 people, right? Like I met a couple of other photographers and stuff like that. And so I'm bussing tables at a restaurant, and it was June Bloom at the time. It was May and June. So it was like, I was in Carlsbad. So it was always overcasted.
Yeah, what did I do?
Right. And RP's working a full-time job. He's got a wife. They didn't have kids yet. And so I'd go bus tables, then I'd go to all the skate parks. Then I would start meeting people and stuff like that. But I do remember like one specific situation where I'm in Carlsbad. I'm driving to the Carlsbad skate park. I'm by myself. I had a two-wheel drive Ford Ranger that was purple, called it Purple Nurple. And I'm at a stoplight. And again, this is like a really depressed time of my life, but I'm at a stoplight and I'm looking around at all these cars and I'm like, dude, no one knows me. Because I grew up in a small town where everyone knew you, right? Like you're related to everyone. You couldn't get away with things, right? You know what I mean? And it was this weird, like really liberating feeling. Like no one knows me. And that's when I started climbing out of the depression, where it was just like this, you can do what you want to do without having that baggage and burden of doing what everyone else wants you to do, especially growing up in the LDS church.
Oh, totally.
Right. And so it was like really visceral. Like it was just one of those moments where it was like, whoa, this is crazy. And so then I just started meeting people and got on a board company and started getting paid for Duff, started getting paid for the board company, and started making enough money. At the time was $1,500 a month. I moved out of that, staying with that buddy.
And screw you, mom.
Yeah. So I moved out of that and I got an apartment with Jared Smith and Tully, and then this dude, John Ollie, who rode for Zero. We all got an apartment in Carlsbad, and it was like $500 a month. I'm making $1,500. I started smoking weed and stuff during that time. You know, you're in California, you got to living to be the loca. And $1,500 was fine. Like I was living great.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? You're still tight.
Like,
yeah, you're skating every day. You got your rent, you got gas money, you got money for food. And also you're like, going to skate parks and selling shoes and boards and stuff like that. Yeah. Right. And so that's kind of how I got down there. And I was in Carlsbad.
Which is like, you had like, because again, like in today's world, cool, you have an iPhone.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
totally
easy to get discovered. It's so easy to put out content.
Yeah.
But like those days, you have to go where everybody else is, and you
100%
yourself and tell anyone's going to say, "Oh,
yeah." And if you're kooky at all, like you're done.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But like, got along with everyone. And right at that time too, like about 2 months after I moved to California, I got my first photo in a magazine, which was from a trick I did at Tampa Am, where I went out with a photographer named Scott Pommier. It was a front blunt on this handrail, and I was wearing a white button-up shirt, looked straight up from a mission. And that was when my first photo came out in a magazine in Transworld. I was like, whoa, dude. And so it happened to be my next roommate was Shad Lambert. He was working at Transworld, but he's from Colorado. And the Four Corners at those days always stuck together. Like Colorado, New Mexico, Arizona, and Utah were all really tight in the skate scene. And so he got me published and ended up being a roommate with him. And so I had the Salt Lake homies down. We did 6 months at that apartment. Stopped doing the apartment. They moved back to Salt Lake because it was still a grind, right? And I came home to St. George for like a week to figure out what I was going to do. And that was right when 9/11 happened. Like, I'm at my parents' house. I got home that night before, at my parents' house. 9/11 happens, and things get, obviously weird for everyone. I stay home for probably like a week, and then I come out back to California, and I couch surfed for probably like 3 months or something like that.
Yeah.
And that was that period. Over time, I probably did about 9 months living in my car or living on couches. But at the time, I went from the Ford Range, and we're kind of brain dumping here, but try to follow along. Went from the Ford Range to a Honda Civic, and the Honda Civic worked great for living in your car, especially in Carlsbad. A lot of industrial, so you get the tricks of like putting your t-shirts up in the windows and stuff like that. Because I never wanted to overstay my welcome at people's houses, so I never stayed more than like 2 days, right? And I'd be like staying in Newport Beach at some homie's house and be like, yeah, I'm gonna go down to Carlsbad, but I'd literally just drive down the street in an industrial park and sleep in my car.
Yeah, I'll be back whenever you need to come back. I'll be here.
Yeah, I'll come back for the skate sesh. But, California wasn't too bad because the weather was really good and they had showers at the beach. Yeah. So, living in your car is not too bad and crowd surfing. But, it was still down in Carlsbad. Moved into a house with the dude Chad Lambert I was talking about and a couple other skaters. And that's when my career started. Like, I started meeting everyone. I started getting a couple more photos. Just turned amateur because you're on flow for so long, right? Started getting a little bit of paychecks. And then when we're talking about steps, right? For a second, like, let me go back there. The first step, the psychological step for me to go to California was I had to get my heart broken. You know what I mean? Like, that was the step that pushed me psychologically to do something out of my comfort zone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You need some sort of, it's the laws of physics.
Yeah.
An object at rest will stay at rest until exerted on by outside force. Same thing with a lot of things.
Yeah. First step.
You need to have something happen.
Yeah. The step wasn't, I moved to California. The step was like, I got emotionally destroyed. And then I took that step to move to California.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Totally.
And so then fast forward to this period, I'm living with the homies. My room was a shed in the backyard in Carlsbad, but it was like a half block from the beach. So it was sick.
Yeah.
Paid $500 for the shed, had about 14 power plugs in there. So I'm pretty sure it was a grow room. But there was no bathroom. So I had to walk through another roommate's bedroom to get to the bathroom.
It works.
Because it was in the backyard, but it was there. I just got flow for Hurley and I was just getting close for him, right? And Shad got booked to go to Japan with Hurley for 2 months, right? I think he was doing a month and another photographer was coming for a month. And he's like, dude, just come. And I was like, let me ask the team manager. The team manager's like, no, you can't go. You're like flow.
Yeah.
Right. So I convinced Duffs to buy me a ticket. And I went with Shad and just showed up.
Yeah, you're like, I'll figure it out. I'll show up.
No, he did. The team manager didn't know I was coming. He was actually pissed. I just showed up, right? Because Shad was going. Shad's like, dude, just come with me. So got a ticket. I didn't have like per diem. I didn't have money.
Yeah.
I think I had probably went over with like $200, thinking that I was going to be okay, right? So anytime there were team dinners, that's when I was going to eat. I was still on flow. I get over there, and this is when I met like all my best friends. Like, in the skate world, like the homies that you'll be homies for life. So like Nuge, Justin Roy, Chris Markovich, Stacey Lowry was there, Bob Burnquist. I mean, we're not best friends, but Bob Burnquist was there, Rodrigo TX. Like,
what experience. You guys showed up in Japan.
Legends.
Spot hunting, skating around the city.
It was amazing. And I became really good friends with like the creative director going on and doing Kingdom and some other Netflix series and stuff like that. Like, just like baller dudes, right? And I'm just the kid who showed up. And so I'm hungry. I'm hungry at the time. I'm like just turned 21, right? I'm just entering my party phase. And so I go for a month and just sleep on the couch. But I went hard, dude. I just got tons of tricks. They would go and have to do photo shoots and stuff for Hurley because Hurley was just opening in Japan. They just opened up an office. And so I was just filmer and photographer would stay back and we'd just go skate. And I remember my first ad for Hurley. So I got put on the team after this trip. Okay. Like full AM team. My first ad for Hurley, the actual Hurley skate team were out doing stuff for the Hurley office. It was me, the filmer, the photographer. And I'm like, dude, I want to go back to this. I want to go to that rail. I want to get a trick. Had zero money. We had to take the subway or the train. The way I paid for the train, I went through all the couches in the house because we rented a house and found change in the cracks. That's how I paid for me to get to that spot. And that ended up being my first ad for Hurley.
Wow.
Yeah. It's kind of random.
Sometimes you got to show up and just be there.
Yeah.
And the rest will take care of itself.
Yeah. And so like during that time, that's like right after that trip, I got put on Hollywood Skateboards, which was Chris Markovich's. And I already have been on a couple like, domestic trips, like RV trips around Canada and the US and stuff. But this is when I started traveling more internationally. So like Duff's, we'd go to Spain for a couple weeks, go to UK with Tumieto, Hollywood Skateboards was owned by Tumieto. We'd go to Sweden for a month or do another Red Bull, RV trip across Canada or something like that. So I started getting a lot of traveling going on. It was awesome. And then a year later, we made a video when we were in Hurley called Transmission Japan. And so I'm going to tell you my love story because this is kind of part of everything that we're going to talk about in the future.
Beautiful.
And so, at the time after the first trip to Japan, I moved to Fullerton with all the homies from the trip in Japan. Yep. We all got an apartment together. It looked like Melrose Place. So we called it Hellrose Place.
Yes.
Out of like 12 apartments, we had like 7 or 8 of them of all skateboarders.
Wow.
Yeah. And the landlord's owned a skate shop. So you could just imagine. And we're like right outside of downtown Fullerton. And at the time we like all thought we were in the Strokes, the band or something like that. Like we all thought we were rock stars. Like, long hair. I had long dyed black hair. Like, yes. I have no hair now. So we're like full party face. Right. And you're just raging and skating and like getting tricks, getting clips all the time. It was amazing. Year later, from the video we made in Japan, it was called Transmission Japan. We went back to premiere it. So we went back for 10 days. Okay. And that was a fun trip. On the way there, my roommate, J-Roy, sat next to this lady that was from Arizona that was going to visit her daughter, right? Her daughter. We land and J-Roy comes up. He's like, yeah, dude, I was sitting next to this lady. And she was telling me like, you gotta hang out with my daughter. She's a model and all of her friends and roommates are models. And we're like, dude, yeah. And we were kind of like, we were in that phase of our life where we were actually like hanging out with models and stuff, And we're like, dude, did you get her number? He's like, no. And we're like, you were literally the dumbest person in life. Yes. 3 days later, I see the lady, because I remember seeing her on the plane. I see the lady. She's white, right? So it's really easy to spot people at this time in Japan. And because normally you're taller and white, right? So I see her and she's with this cutie. So I walk up and say, hey, we're on your flight. Like, hey, what's her name? Got her number. Her name's Meredith out of Georgia. And we're there for just a limited amount of time. And we had the sickest crew there, dude. Like Bob Burnquist, Rodrigo TX, Markovich, Nuge. Like it was so good. And kept trying to call the number. This is my love story. Trying to call the number. She wasn't answering. I was like, oh, lame. She gave us the wrong number.
Yeah.
Again, this is like Japan had cell phones, but we didn't really have cell phones yet. This is like 2002 or 1 or something like that. This was 2003. This was right at the beginning of 2003. So I think I had like a brick yellow cell phone back in the States, but it didn't work in Japan. Yeah. So couldn't get a hold of them. So we keep just, we're premiering the video at a couple different places in Japan. We're doing demos and stuff like that. We kept going to this one bar called Club Lexington. It was in Roppongi. It was the model bar, the international model bar. So we were always going there, right? The last night we're there, we get done doing a photo shoot for Hurley. So again, this is different than the first time I'm like fully on the team. We go down to the bar, and right when I walk in, this girl walks up to me and she's super hot. And I come in, I'm wearing boots, boot cut jeans, tight as hell, velvet red crush jacket, long black dyed hair and sunglasses on. Like, I thought it was like a full rock star. Yeah, so dumb. And she's standing there. We kind of both walk up to each other. I put my sunglasses on her and she's like, are you guys the Hurley guys? I'm like, what? She's like, my best friend's mom was on the flight with you guys. We've been She points to all of her friends. They're all like smoking hot, dude. Yeah. Because they're all like hybrid, like mixed. Like my wife now, she's half Korean, half American, but she looks Japanese, right? And her friend was white, but there was like Canadians, Ukrainians, all sorts of stuff. She points over. I'm like, you guys have all been waiting for us to call you all week. I'm like, oh, we've blown it because it's our last night, Yeah. So I start dancing with her. I grab her hand. It was like right when I met her. I grab her hand, walk up to the DJ booth, exchange emails as pre-cell phone. I'm like, hey, let's keep in touch. I'm leaving tomorrow. And then request White Wedding from Billy Idol.
Classic.
And then, hung out with her that night and then, obviously left and stuff like that. Actually, like, it was a weird situation at the end because there was another girl that I was kind of hanging out with showed up. We weren't serious.
There's always a little complicated.
Yeah. And I just met Angela too. And so like we leave and then, a couple months, we get back home. A couple months later, I'm living in Fullerton and Angela emails. She's like, hey, I'm going to move to LA to model. Do you know where I should move and stuff like that? I was like, hey, why don't you just come stay with me for like 3 days? Perfect. Right? Come stay with me 3 days and you can figure out where you're going to live. So she goes back to Albuquerque where she's from. She drives all the way to Fullerton. Right when she shows up, it's pouring rain. I'm driving the Duff's van, the skate van. It was the Astro van at the time. Right when she pulls up, I had to drive Lizard King, who's from Salt Lake.
Oh, yeah.
I had to drive Lizard. And this is at the time, he's still Mike Plum. He's living under my kitchen table, paying $150 a month to live under our kitchen table, right? So he just came out.
Yes.
Right. And I'm like, hey, I gotta take Lizard to the Long Beach airport. And she just showed up. And I mean, it's been like
you need to take who?
it's
Where?
like 6 months after, like I did. And I was like wasted when I met her, right? I'm like, whoa, she is way hotter than I remember, like way too hot for me. I was
The better side of the drunk night out.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. So I was like, hey, we got to take Lizard to the Long Beach airport. Will you just jump in with us? Right. Jumps in. It's a 45-minute drive. It's pouring rain the whole time. Windshield wipers don't work. So she gets off a 14-hour drive into this Astro van with these two dirtbag skaters. We have our hands out the front window wiping the windshield because we couldn't see.
Yeah.
Luckily, Lizard and I are pretty funny. So like we're just like keeping her laughing the whole time, right?
Yeah.
Drop them off. I come back, get back to their apartment, walk her in, power shut off in my apartment. So J-Roy's sitting there, he's playing his guitar, candles are lit, and I was like, dude, what's going on? He's like, oh, I forgot to pay the power bill again. I was like, you gotta be fucking kidding me, dude. And also, I don't know what I was thinking asking her to come stay with me. In my room alone.
It's like you had a plan. You're just like, girls coming here. I have a place. Come here.
We smoked cigarettes inside. The only thing in the fridge was beer and mold, right? My room, I had a bunk bed. I was on the bottom of the bunk bed. Mark White from Salt Lake, he was our filmer at the time, was up on top of me. And DJ Chavez, who owns Kingswell Skate Shop in LA now, but he's from Albuquerque. He had a mattress on the ground next to it. That was my room. I was like, yeah, come share you could sleep in the bed or
be
something.
the number 4 in our room.
Yeah, totally. So like we show back up, power shut off. I was like, oh crap, let's go up to Nuge's apartment. Luckily we had all these apartments, right? So we go up to Nuge's and he had power and everything. We get a poker game going. All the homies we're all there. And she's like one of 2 women there. You know what I mean? She wins the poker game.
Wow.
First time. Baller. Dude, we had homies like Jason Massey and Corey Shepard like storm out of the apartment. Pissed that this girl had just showed up and won the poker game. I think she just learned that day too or something. Yeah. And I mean, unique story to get there, but then we just never left each other's side. Cool. Yeah. Eventually we all moved to LA too after Fullerton. Got it. Yeah.
Man,
we're all over the place. I mean, that's why I'm saying
that's why I love that story, because I'm always the fan of more context is better than less context, because hey, it's been phenomenal, and I always love I have a deep appreciation because I hear these stories and I have enough of them to I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah. Showing up to the house, you're like, oh, there's a mattress there. There's an ashtray over there.
So dirty.
And it is, but it's also just, it's still home.
Yeah.
And everyone's again, just yeah.
Oh, dude, it was the funnest time of my life. That apartment, it was insane. Yeah. But I did warn you I was going to brain dump. So
if I
brain dumping is happening.
I didn't, I'd be like, all right. So anyway, moving on.
Yeah.
So cool. So you guys end up, and you're in Fullerton, you go down to LA.
Yeah, we all moved to LA. All of us did. We all got a couple different places. We had a place in Gower and Franklin right behind the 101 Cafe that was at a house that was going to get torn down. So I was going to move in there. I didn't because my brother decided to move from Wisconsin to LA. So I grabbed an apartment with him not far away. My now current wife got her own apartment for a minute. And then the Hell Rose crew got a house. It was like party house right in Hollywood, dude.
Yeah.
Like when they all moved out, when the lease was up because they were going to tear the house down to build a parking lot, like we had a going away party with axes and hammers. I like full on just hammering the wall and breaking. The guys didn't care that
we're
tearing it down.
They're saving them money.
Yeah, but that was a rager house, dude. That was wild.
I'm glad that it gets its proper funeral of we're moving out, we're gonna break it down, and we're all just gonna go.
It was amazing, and it was in such a good spot. You could walk to the beauty bar and the club, all the different clubs and things like that. So we were there. We were in LA for 2 years, and I was still pretty much on all the same sponsors and traveling the world, going on tours, places and stuff. And it was it was an insane, amazing time of my life. It was the golden era of skateboarding.
Yeah,
that era is no social media. You can go, like I was saying, you go live in Barcelona for 2 weeks or something. This was before Airbnb, but somehow we'd find apartments.
Yeah,
I don't even know how we did it actually. You go live there. You get a couple photos, couple video clips. It's this is a horrible term for it, but I call it lifestyle skating because it wasn't competitive skating. It was you're going there and you're partying and you're getting a couple photos, a couple video clips, and that was totally worth it, right? You get 1 or 2 photos in a magazine, get some photo incentive, get a couple clips in a video. and you just went and lived in Barcelona for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
It was awesome. It
Which
was
is how
amazing.
it should, like, I'm a believer, like, because I hate competitive skating, skateboarding, snowboard, like everything, because it's like, oh, well, he tweaked his ankle. Like, no,
It changes it.
like,
Yeah.
it's just not, you can't apply that lens to it when there's so much more artistry.
Yeah.
As much as the words overused, like culture behind it.
Yeah.
And that's what makes it all that it is.
Heavy culture at the time. It was also very much like a creative outlet. And you also had a ton of like mom and pop brands.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't like Nike wasn't in. Nike tried to come in late 90s with shoes. They got their butts whooped. They had to leave the skate industry. I mean, their first shoe was called the Chode. You know what I mean? And it didn't work out first for them. So you still had all like the core skate shoe brands, the core board companies, the core
Before they became behemoth.
before there's like 4 companies now, you know what I mean? And so you were actually able to make somewhat of living, right? Like I was like B-level skateboarder, right? So I would, even making 25 or $3,000 a month in those times, early 2000s, was like totally enough. You weren't saving money, but you were getting wild life experiences.
Yeah.
Like crazy life. I mean, you were getting fights in Oklahoma and Sweden.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Which is so, because like I have enough friends that have been, pro skateboarders, pro skiers, pro snowboarders, that it's kind of like these 20s where they're like, I got to do it all.
It was my college years.
Yeah.
Yeah. 100% my college years.
I mean, obviously subjectively, like way better education than sitting in a classroom learning about accounting.
I mean, I got, and when people ask me, did you go on a mission? I'm like, yeah, I went on a mission of the hard knocks.
Yeah.
I got full life skills in those years by just being places and being around people and getting unique experiences. I mean, I'm grateful I made it out alive.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There were multiple times.
Because there's people that didn't.
Yeah. Whether it was drugs or whatever, but there's multiple times like I actually almost died.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like 2 big Nigerian dudes almost killed me in Tokyo. Like broken bottle, glass to the throat. You want to hear the story because it's so good? So this is before I met my wife. We come out. This is when we were living there for a month. We come out of Club Lexington, that bar in Roppongi, walking with like Rodrigo, Bob, Burnquist, Nuge, J. Roy, and Rodrigo had these 2 girls, Japanese girls, and we're just like raging. We're like, yeah, let's go back to the house. We get out to the road, out of the alley to the road, and all of a sudden, like a scuffle happens. I don't even know what happened, but it was something to do with the girls or something, and it wasn't. It was like another Japanese guy or something. And those were my fighting days in those days. So I'm like, oh, what's going on?
Yeah, you're just itching.
I pick up a beer bottle, an empty beer bottle on the street. Literally the second I picked it up, I was pushed against a wall by this 6'8" Nigerian dude, because they kind of like run that area.
Yeah.
He grabbed the bottle, broke it, and had it up my throat. Within it was like Jason Bourne shit, dude. Like within a half a second. I'm sitting there like this. I'm like, no, it's all good. It's all good. Bob Burnquist's brother-in-law, Bruno Passios. I owe this dude my life. I like, anytime I see him, I tell him this. His dad was like a famous capoeira dude from Brazil. I see this fool, like literally, like in my eyes, I was drunk, but in my eyes, it was like Superman flying. You know what I mean? Like over people, because it was a big scuffle happening, right? Fucking punched the dude. So it made the beer bottle go away, right? Like literally saved my life, right? Punches the dude. We all get up and we all just take off running. So there's like 7 dudes and 2 girls running away from these, like, at that point, these dudes just came out of the crack in the wall, dude.
Yeah.
There's probably like 3 or 4 like Nigerian dudes running after us. And they're scary.
Yes.
They're fucking scary, dude. We're running. We all dive into a cab. Like literally, we're like sandwiched on top of each other, like laying on the seat. And we're like, go, 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 go. Cab took off. We were safe. But that was one of those times I should have died.
Yeah. That's amazing.
Yeah, it was a fun one.
Damn. Man.
So we're in LA.
Yeah,
we're in LA. LA was a fun time, but it's also like, this is right around the recession was starting. So we lived in a couple different places in LA. Like, lived in that place, lived in an apartment, moved out with my brother. Me and Angela got a place with another homie, Gareth Stair, and his wife in Silver Lake. And then it was right around that time where we stopped. We had a board company called Hell Rose. That didn't work out with the distributor, so we shut that down. And then I got another board company. But it was like starting to be the time where I'm like, if I stay in LA, I don't know if I'm going to last very much longer.
Got it.
Because we're raging.
Yeah.
And so I needed to pick up some more money those last few months in LA. So I was still getting some sponsorship dollars, but I started delivering pizzas, and I was just like, I don't know, man. Like, I'm 25 at the time, and I was still like, I was probably in my prime for skating at that time, because I had like probably 20,000 hours of skating.
Yeah.
Like I was really good, but I was just like, I was smoking a lot of weed, like an ounce a week. Yeah. It was ridiculous. And so like I was like skating a ton, but it was more, I wasn't like motivated. I wasn't like, I'm going to keep going. I'm going to hit this level.
Be the person that just shows up on the trip is gone.
Totally. Yeah. It was starting to fade a little bit, but I'm still like so passionate about skating. So it was just, I wasn't going where I thought I could go. And it was really, I was just kind of being lazy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so right around that time, I was on a trip in Houston for a tour. My mom had a stroke. I got a call in the hotel room. I was like, what? And it was a really bad one. So I come back home. We're still living in LA. And I was like, oh man, this is serious shit.
Yeah.
So go back to LA. And after that lease ran up in Silver Lake, where me and my girlfriend at the time were living, I was like, should we do something else? You know, like recession was just starting, right?
This is a hard conversation to have when it's been your life for the last 10 years.
And she's been modeling. She started modeling at 14. Literally, my wife moved to Japan at 14 by herself. Her parents were okay with that.
That's insane.
Yeah, I mean, Tokyo's the safest city, so she's got a wild story in herself. So we're like, okay, do we move somewhere? We're broke, right? We're still making money. She's still modeling, but it's not like how you think, like, oh, these dudes are balling a new car. You know, it's like, you know, you're pulling in $3,000 a month or $4,000 a month or something like that. And so we're like, do we go to Albuquerque, figure out what to do there, or do we go to St. George? I'm like, dude, I do not want to go to Albuquerque. That's too far. Because I was still had a pro board. I still was skating, and my wife was still modeling. I'm like, dude, let's go to St. George, 6-hour drive.
Yeah.
So we were the first 2 years of being in St. George. So we came back, we got married, got back to be around my parents.
Fine, Mom, I'll get married.
Yeah. Well, we came back and we stayed at my parents' house for like 3 months, and they made us stay in different rooms until we got married. It was pretty funny. And so we were coming back all the time. Like 2 weeks out of the month, I was traveling. Right. So I was still on Hurley. She was still coming down for like modeling gigs and stuff like that. So it was a good place for us to kind of start slowly tapering out of California and the skate world. And I still think about skating every day, you know, so it wasn't like a total intentional thing. But what I didn't want to do is get too like older and older and just like be a team manager. And partly there's no knock on team managers, but I was a kid being managed by a team manager. I know how shitty I was. So I just didn't want to deal with that.
Turn around and deal with like 5 or
100%. Yeah. I didn't want to deal with that. And so for 2 years, I still was skating, right? So I wasn't going back to school or anything like that. It was like 26 to 27, 28. And then I started doing some window washing on the side. I started a window washing company because I did one in my teenage years to pick up some extra income. So I was still traveling all the time, but the recession was hitting hard then. And so that's when like the Hurley dollars dried up. They like let go of 90% of the team. Yeah. Duff's dollars dried up. So I was just basically getting royalties from boards. So it wasn't enough money. So I was like, okay, I got to figure out what to do. Right. So I went back to college to get my associates, right, at like 29, which is really fucking hard. Right. I was never
that to be like, all right, back to a classroom.
Yeah. But you know, one thing is I transitioned over like a 3-4 year period to out of that lifestyle slowly. It wasn't just like abrupt drop, like you're done, right? Like you have to go do something now. Like it wasn't like, oh, I'm done with skating to school the next day. Yeah. Right. Like I was still traveling, and then the 2 weeks turned into 1 week out of the month to, you know, things like that. So I was still skating every day. And, you know, picking up some side incomes and stuff like that. But towards the end, this is like core recession hard, right? Hard, you know, it was hard for everyone. So I started going back to get my associates, and I had to start like 990 math and English. Like it was tough, dude. It sucked. I was never good at that. So over the next 2 years, I did that, got my associates. And then right when I graduated from my associates, I was like, what do I do? Like, we didn't have kids yet. We're just got, I think I was 30 or 31 at the time. So I'm like a late bloomer in the education side. Yep. But I had all this like, you know, real world experience stuff. My wife was going to school the whole time after we moved back too. So she got her bachelor's in graphic design like a year after I got my associates. So that summer I'm like, what do I do? Like skating's not going to work out. I'm like, I'm too old to like try to make it again. And so my brother was at Goal Zero. Goal Zero was fresh, like half a year in. He calls me up and he's like, hey, we're doing this event in Whistler called Crankworx, the mountain bike event. He's like, we have to drive a 12-passenger van up pulling a trailer. He's like, no one's ever done that before. I was like, dude, I fucking drove across the country so many times with 12-passenger vans and RVs. I was like, dude, I'm in. I literally have nothing going right now. I'm trying to figure out what to do. So contract job, 10 days, drive up to Salt Lake, because that was where Go Zero was based. We were living in St. George.
Yeah.
Pick up the van, 12-passenger lifted van pulling a 26-foot trailer that weighed 10,000 pounds. He didn't warn me about that.
Yeah.
I couldn't drive over 55 miles an hour the whole way. Right. So I met a couple of the guys from Go Zero. Again, this is fresh. It's like first year at Go Zero.
Yeah.
They jump in the van. I think one dude dared to drive, but other than that, I drove the whole way. So we drove all the way to Seattle, stayed at one of the Go Zero employees' family's house in Seattle, and then drove up to Crankworx in Whistler. And 10-day event, I was the only one out of the crew that stayed the whole time. So the other people flew in and out, like it was like the first half crew and then the second half crew came, right? So we had this big trailer. I'm in Whistler activating 10 days. And, in the skating world, like you're doing tours and demos and signings and stuff like that. So you're used to it's just like, let's go. You know what I mean?
Get the energy, like you're talking to people.
Yeah.
You're just managing it all. Yeah.
And so going from skating to that, like event activation, and especially like I started learning about the Go Zero products, and they had a limited assortment at the time, but it was like, dude, portable solar panel that I could plug my fucking phone into, little battery packs. Like this stuff is sick.
Yeah.
So did that event, drove the van back to Salt Lake. And I called my brother after. He was like I think he was the president or something. I think it was either the VP of sales or president. I think he was the president. So I called him. I was like, dude, I'm so into this product. Like, I have no idea what I could do for you. Let me come work for you. He's like, dude, I can't hire you. He's like, then I'll have to fire you eventually, So it's like, okay, whatever. But hire me for contract stuff. So they hired me and my wife to run to work the outdoor retailer booth one year. And she didn't know anything about the product, but she was the booth babe. And they're Japanese distributors. Weren't even Japanese distributors. They weren't yet. But after they talked to Angela, because she spoke some Japanese, they're like, they locked in. Wow. It was amazing. Then they hired me for one more event, and it was a PR event, because I became friends with the not 3-man, there was one there, but like 3-person marketing team, right? It was like fresh. It was like their first year. They called me up and they're like, hey, we're doing a PR event in Lake Powell in a houseboat. Can you come and be our athlete? Because I still had a pro board at the time. I was like, yeah, I'll come out. I remember Lake Powell, which is crazy because I grew up in St. George.
I was going to say, that's wild.
No. And so my mom we had a houseboat growing up, but us younger kids were never allowed to go because she was afraid we were all going to drown. So the first time I actually did a full week at Lake Powell was in June this year. Crazy. And it's insane. So go out there. I go out for like 2 or 3 days or whatever. It was Reuter Finn PR agency out of New York. So they brought in like Men's Journal, Outside Magazine, all these big publications, right? And living on a houseboat, and we have solar power and stuff like that. So I leave that event, and the VP of sales, Bart Miller, stud, he needed to ride back to St. George to catch a flight, right? So I'm like, dude, jump in the car with me. Let's become homies, right? Drive back, almost hit a deer, literally saved our lives. Jeez. Driving like a Honda Crosstrek or whatever they're called. It was crazy, but we became homies. And right before that, I'm talking to my 2 older brothers who are kind of like my mentors, and they're very successful. One lives here, Joe Atkin, invests in companies, he was at Goal Zero, Mountain Ops, Bare Bones, all these places. And my other brother is like a really big time lawyer at LA. And I was like, dude, you guys, I don't know what to do. I'm like, I'm coming from skateboarding. That's not applicable to anything. And they're like, well, let's talk about some of your experiences. So talk about it. And they're like, dude, you've been doing marketing for 15 years. Yeah. I'm like, that's marketing? Because I would work with like the creative team at Hurley to put ad concept.
But they would never tell you what you're doing from like a corporate landscape.
No, like even the board company we owned for a little bit called Hellrose, we put our tours together. You call up skate shops. Hey, we're going to be there. Let's do a demo, stuff like that. I'm like, that's marketing, like advertising and like, customer engagement and all that kind of stuff. I was like, dude, that's fun shit. So I'm like, okay, maybe I'll go into marketing. Right. So we get back from the PR event, and that week I signed up for an online marketing degree at Western Governors up here, right? Because I'm like, I don't know if I could stay in St. George, because at the time there weren't opportunities, right?
That has to be flexible.
This is pre-COVID, right? You guys live it wherever you want. And so I signed up for my online marketing degree. Right after the day after I signed up for that, Bart Miller calls me. He's like, hey, come work for me. I'm in sales, but I need someone. I'm not getting what I need from the marketing team, because there's like 3 people. Yeah. He's like, I need like a content specialist, someone that could get on a Best Buy, Bass Pro, Cabela's, Lowe's. This is their first year. This is the year they grew 17,000%. So they went from like 900 grand in sales to 17 million in 1 year.
Wow.
And so he's like, Bart was killer, dude. He opened up all these accounts. Him and my brother Joe just went out and opened up all these accounts, right? And they're like, we don't have the assets for these guys for like their websites and stuff. So I was like, dude, I'll come work for you, right? I'm living in St. George at the time. So I drive up. My brother didn't know I worked for Goal Zero for a whole week. So Bart just went totally around him, right?
He's like, where's my brother? He's like,
yeah. I showed up at the office one day. He's like, what are you doing? I was like, I'm on the sales team. So I start, this was my first, again, talking about steps. I didn't know what to do. And I had these little things going on, but then it was this like behavioral moment or psychological moment where I realized, I'm like, after talking to my brothers, I was like, dude, that's marketing. Like, I like that. I like building energy. I like building brands. I like, talking with people and I like products. I like products I believe in that I can be passionate about. And so that was a step. I'm like, I'm going to marketing, right? And luckily this door opened up for me at Goal Zero. Like I owe Bart my whole career because like, that's where I got my MBA. I didn't get a real MBA on paper, but the way we grew, and I'll tell you a couple experiences. So I get over, I'm in the sales team doing marketing, right? Digital content marketing, right? I'm the lowest in the low, payroll, everything. I'm like barely scraping by. I'm living in St. George, and he's like, okay, we need copy and we need photos up on all these websites. So I like go to the marketing team. I was like, hey, do you guys have this stuff? And they're like, not really. So I literally, and they just hired a CMO the same day they hired me. Yeah. So I went and I wrote all, like they had kind of a website, but I just like wrote all the copy. I didn't have any experience of doing this.
Yeah, you're just like, all right, I'll just do it.
Wrote all the copy, built a little studio in my townhome in St. George, little white, tiny studio, right? Took a bunch of photos, got two homies, Bob Plum and this kid, Randy DeLucci, to come take lifestyle photos with me. So I would like come up here because I would shoot with Bob all the time because the Lizard's brother. I was like, hey, let's just throw a solar panel in this bag and grab this kid that's working at Starbucks, who I happen to be homies with now, lives in St. George. And because he reminds me, he was like, remember that time you just grabbed me to go do a photo shoot? And so this was like, I didn't know what I was doing, really. Like, you kind of did some of that stuff in skating, but this is like actual, like real business shit.
Yeah.
Right. So in 2 months, wrote all the product copy, took studio photos in my room, got lifestyle photos, got up on all those platforms. So worked with, the big dogs in retail. That was like my first foray into, was like working with like the digital and the marketing teams at these places. So after 2 months of being in sales, the CMO, who came over from Maui Gym, he comes over, he's like, James, you're doing marketing. You should just come to marketing. I was like, sure, whatever.
Right,
yeah. And Bart was pissed. And he's kind of still pissed at me that I did that, but went over to marketing. And that's when it was like my opportunities just like opened up and exploded.
Yeah.
Cause we were growing super fast. And so, the reason why the marketing thing and the product thing worked for me, because like in skating, you're hungry, dude. You're just like thinking about tricks all day long, using your feet. When you're driving, you're like doing kickflips in your mind over fire hydrants and stuff like that.
Everything, you're looking at every rail, every stair step that you
right. And you do it, and you just do it like 7 days a week for 20 years, unless I got a rolled ankle or something, right? Or broken ribs or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And that clicked for me in the outdoor industry and in products. So that's right. The Whistler event is when that started clicking for me. I was like starting getting passionate, right? And so I get over there and I'm just like gung ho, dude, like fucking full pedal. It was literally like putting on magnet gloves and jumping on the side of a bullet train.
Well, it's like, I love that you have this. When you were 25, you're like, I've lost my energy for this.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what I want to do in LA, do all this. And all of a sudden you're like, we're back.
And I was 31.
Yeah.
And my wife just got pregnant. And so I'm like, we didn't have insurance. Right. And she's type 1 diabetic. So it was like just crazy times. Right. I'm like, I need a job that we can get insurance. This just happened to pop up. Again, it wasn't even through my sibling, which was amazing. There was no nepotism. It was actually anti-nepotism.
Yeah.
Right. And so I get in there and the marketing team they're fresh too. This is 2011. This is social media coming in, digital e-commerce, all this stuff. And most people didn't know what to do. And Chris, who came over, the CMO, he came from our gym, and this is a traditional world, right? Print advertising, event marketing, things like that, which a lot of that stuff outside of print advertising coming back. Yeah. It's not just all e-commerce these days, but I was like, hey, I'm doing the digital content stuff. I'm like, who's doing social media? And in skating, we were early on Instagram.
Yeah.
Right. And so I'm like, who's running social? But I didn't know how to do it for a brand. And they're like, well, there's like 7 people was like, okay, can I take it? And they're like, yeah, take it. So I just focused on social for 6 months and was doing the content stuff. But I was like, all the posting, the strategy, meeting with all the different brands in the Valley, calling other people. I was calling like Cliff Bar and Polar Stuff and all these people. I'm like, I just want to learn from you, or getting connections. It was that hunger, right? Like, it was like, nothing's going to be in my
looking for a couch to sleep on. You're looking
Totally.
for people to, partner with. And
and it's funny, like when you reach out to people and you're just totally vulnerable and empathetic, like, dude, I love what you're doing. Like, I have no fucking idea what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Like, how do you do this? Right. So within 6 months, I became like really good on, got our social dialed in, and then I was able to hire someone. Right. And then I went to the CMO. I was like, what else? What, like, can I take over events? Cool. Took over events. And then this weird thing happened in 1 year. So I social hired the best dude, Brian Bayless, who lives here in town. And I hope he watches this because I love him and I miss him. He's gone on to start multiple brands and stuff like that, like super successful. But he was like so perfect for that role, right? And then he did video for us and stuff. We started, basically that was the start of building this insane team that we had of all the stuff in the brand building we did for Goal Zero. Like we made the brand go, like it passed revenue. Like the brand was, people thought we were $200 million company. We're doing 30 billion. You know what I mean? And so I take over like events, and then October or November 2012, I took over athletes, actually right before that.
Because they had became the team manager.
I became the team manager, and it was so funny because they had sponsored people they were working with. Like they had like Renan Osterk and Jimmy Chan, but he left right before I got there. And they had like this pro bass fisherman. They had Eric Larson, the Polar Explorer, and all these people. They didn't know what to do with them. And I was like, dude, that is my background. Let me take this on, right? So I put a whole program together, like contracts, agreements, what we're going to do, creative relationships. Well, that year I put on Alex Honnold. I put on Mike Lebecki, who's a local guy here, and Chris Burkhardt. And Chris Burkhardt was still a photographer surfer. Yeah. Like we were like his first legit sponsor, right? And Alex, like, this was right when Alex was becoming popular in climbing. Yeah. This is 2012. Yeah. So and then we sponsored Real Rock, and I became homies with Real Rock, big climbing, production. Fucking awesome dudes. So I remember a conversation I had with one of the dudes from Real Rock who lives in New York. And he starts telling me about, I asked him, was like, hey, that last hurricane I saw on the news, like what happened? And he's like, dude, my power shut off for 3 weeks. So this is the end of 2012, right? Election year happened. Obama and Mitt go in battle, right? We moved up to Lehigh, so I'm living at the point of the mountain. I'm down in St. George visiting, and I see all the news coming about Hurricane Sandy, right?
Yep.
I didn't oversee anything with our NGO stuff because Goal Zero was founded as a nonprofit in the Democratic Republic of Congo, and then turned into like, whoa, this is an actual business.
Yeah.
By Robert Workman, who's a legend. The Cricket Machine, Robert's Arts and Craft, Bare Bones.
Interesting.
Yeah, Robert started Goal Zero as the rich white guy in Congo trying to make a difference, right? That was how it started. And then he's like, whoa, we could package this right and make a product. And it was like, we bulldozed that market. That market was like a $3 million market. When we entered, we did 17 after 18 months.
Wow.
Right. So there was always this like give back component of our business, but there was no structure to it.
Yeah.
Right. So Hurricane Sandy's coming up. I don't see that part of the business. And I'm in St. George. It's Sunday night. And I'm like, got this feeling from that conversation I had with Real Rock. I was like, we should do something. This is looking bad.
Yeah.
And just based off his experience, not having power for 3 weeks, I'm like, we could actually do something. Got in my car immediately, drove up, called our guy who did NGO sales. I was like, meet me at the office. We get to the office, put this whole plan together, 4 hours. And it was, how can we help what's about to happen? Because something's going to happen. If it doesn't, then whatever.
Yeah, we'll just pack it all up and go.
It's kind of a mantra I live like. You miss every shot you don't take. Like you hear that from everyone, but it's true. Like if you're not out there swinging, you're not getting hits.
Yeah.
Right. And so we put a proposal together. I called the CMO and he's like, dude, we can't do this. We're not ready. We don't have the bandwidth, or we don't have the tools to do this. So being the skateboarder who doesn't like authority, I went around and proposed it to the board.
Yes.
We proposed it to the board. I'm like a specialist at the time. No, I was like, I can't remember what it was. It's funny too, because we just brought on a director of marketing or something that came from Skull Candy, Jonathan Monk, who's still a good homie. So he wasn't like the top of the top, but he was just coming in, right? And so literally went around and proposed it to the board. And I'm talking about like the CEO of Kroger and Fraser Bullock, like the guy who got the Olympics here.
Yeah.
And because Ryan knew those guys. So he called Robert, who was the CEO and the president, or he was the CEO, Joe was the president and the owner. And they're like, dude, it was a plan to do a BOGO, buy one, give one. And we're going to take the risk and we're going to fill up a diesel with $600,000 of product. And we're going to start driving to New York. This is before Sandy even hit.
Yeah.
Right. So the board approves it. The CMO's pissed at me. The next day, literally you had the CEO of Kroger at the warehouse packing boxes and filling it into a trailer. Right. Again, I'm running social media and I'm kind of managing our athletes at the same time too. Right. So I'm like, okay, fuck it. We're on. Right. So we fill up the diesel, send it off its way. I'm like, okay, we got 4 people.
I'm surprised you weren't the one driving it again this time.
Well, yeah. Well, this time I wanted to get out there because we hired a logistics firm.
Of course.
Right.
Yeah, as you would.
I know, but that would have been so fun.
Yeah.
And so this is on day 1, I fly out there and I took 4 employees. Right. Again, I'm like the lowest of the totem pole, dude. I don't even know how this shit got approved. It's insane, but it was a wild idea.
Yeah.
Right. So we launched the BOGO. It was like right when the hurricane hit and it was bad. Right. Our power was already shut off. You knew it was going to happen. Right. They ended up not having power for like 3 months.
Yeah.
Right. So we got with the sales team. We said, hey, call REI, call Lowe's, call Best Buy, call anyone and do a BOGO. We'll lose money on those products. But if they push this, that's huge for our brand.
Yeah.
Dude, you had Lowe's doing a BOGO. You had I can't remember REI, but it was buy one, give one. Our sales increased 400% that month.
Wow.
Yeah. And it wasn't even about sales. It was like, mine was an empathetic, and even Robert, the founder, this is why the brand started. I was like, we got to be out there to help provide power until power can come back on. Right.
Right.
So I'm running social media. I'm boarding a flight. I'm running our Twitter and Instagram. I'm posting, there's more on Twitter these days. I'm like, hey, is anyone in New York, like we're coming out with portable solar generators, power, like battery generators. We need to figure out how to get this to people. Right. This dude from Salt Lake, Aaron, tweets back. He followed us and we're literally a year and a half in business. And he's like, hey, I'm going out there right now with Team Rubicon. Team Rubicon, it's a bigger organization right now, but it just started. So it's basically veterans. And it's a nonprofit where they bring veterans in, to help give them something to do to still give back.
Yeah.
Right. But their whole premise was bridge the gap from something like a disaster to when FEMA comes in. FEMA's super slow, a lot of red tape, experienced it firsthand. I was angry for a long time at the government when I was out there.
Yeah.
So he's like, okay, cool. Let's connect. So I was like, okay, where are you staying? He's like, we're setting up shop at Brooklyn Boulders, which is a climbing gym in Brooklyn. I was like, okay, I'm going to meet you there. Right. Our truck's not there yet. So we go over there. I was like, there's like 20 people for Team Rubicon. They're not now thousands of people. Right. And it turned into a long relationship where we did disaster relief in the Philippines and all sorts of places with those guys. So we show up and we're like, okay, we have all this product coming, but like, what do we do? They're like, well, we have one way in. Team Rubicon was testing Palantir at the time.
All right.
Which now is like wild shit.
Yeah.
But at the time, it was like really helpful because when you go into like different areas, like we were in the Rockaways, like on Long Island and just on the other side of Brooklyn, and you're like, okay, you're barely using cell phones at the time, but this app was able to say like, hey, this home right here, and it's all targeted, like geo-targeted and everything, mapped. It's like, they need this, they need this, they need a shovel, they need this. Because when we got out there, Team Rubicon helped us with the distribution, but our whole team, we're out there, we're like literally bucketing waters out of people's basement. Like it was devastating, dude. Like I remember an 87-year-old lady, her whole house was completely destroyed. Her husband just died. All of her remembrance of anything was underwater. You know what I'm saying? And there was a lot of that areas didn't have water for 3 months. It was gnarly. So I was out there for a week and I'm running social the whole time, like updating our followers. I'm driving over the Brooklyn Bridge, updating, tweeting. Everyone else in the car is panicking, pooping themselves. Like, what the fuck is
like, I still got to get the tweet out, guys.
Oh yeah. Because I was like, I went from that mindset of skating, of just hunger and falling and getting up and falling up. I'm like, fucking doing this shit, dude. No one's getting our way. We are helping people out. And I still am friends with a couple people. One guy still like hits me up. He's like, dude, you saved my son's mental health. Because their house got wiped. They were out of power for about a month and a half. And he's like, the only thing that helped him get him through, because he's like, we lost everything, dude, was you gave me a battery pack. and a light. So we had light at home at night and we could keep his iPad charged. So he had something to kind of like decompress.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And even years after, he would still tell me this story.
It's amazing.
You know what I mean? And none of that was for me, but it was great hearing those stories. That moment, so we did that and we did 2 trucks. We ended up sending another truck because it performed so well. Grew the business like crazy, grew really good relationships with retailers. But it was all real. It wasn't like, this wasn't a money-making thing. It was like, no, we're going to fucking help people.
Yeah.
And it ended up making it a really good move for the business. And so I went back home, sent another crew out, right? Because FEMA took weeks, dude.
Yeah.
It was wild seeing that shit. They were like blocking off areas, like, you guys can't come in and help. We're like, well, are you helping? They're like, no, we don't have the approval yet. There's like Navy ships in the water right outside of Long Island. They're just sitting there. You couldn't do anything. So I was pissed, like, because it was like election time too. And like, you're watching this stuff and I saw firsthand what the issues with the government. They're like, oh yeah, well, FEMA, we're helping everyone out. I'm like, you're fucking doing there. Yeah. But it was gnarly because we couldn't even get a hotel in the city. So we had to actually drive every night out to Pennsylvania, 2 hours away. And it was where all the linemen were staying because no one could stay in the city. It was all booked.
Yeah.
So they're bringing linemen in for running electrical and all that kind of stuff from Alabama and Nevada. So we're at all these hotels and the bars are insane. It was wild. It was wild. So I got back from that trip and I think the CMO was just parting ways at that time. And the guy who came from Spokane, Monk, he was becoming the VP of marketing. And within a month after getting back, because it did so well, he promoted me to director of community. So I took over, events, just all the community stuff. And it was just, I was at Go Zero for 6.5 years and it was moment after moment. And it's because of the opportunity. It wasn't because like just me, the team was killer. Like we kept hiring killers, dude. Like Ryan Bayless, Andy Earl, Justin, freaking Pitt, Rui, Seuss Edmondson, all these dudes up here, like just killers in the marketing team. And we were able to build like a really good brand and just a good culture. Like we had such a good culture because we were doing all this give back stuff. Like, I took over our give back program and put a whole program called Share a Sale, our Share of the Sun, where you buy a purchase, you get a share of the sun, like literal stock certificate.
Oh, that's cool.
And you can then direct where you want to donate your money to. Right. So we were building school or orphanages in Kenya, schools in Nepal, couple school. We did some in Peru. We partnered with Dell on those ones with Michael Becky, local explorer. We partnered with the Hono Foundation. We did the Navajo Nation. We did a couple other locations with the Hono Foundation. And so that was a really cool program, like really fulfilling in my life to be able to give back, especially growing up LDS, you're always doing give back stuff.
Yeah.
And we just like really crushed in that. But those 6.5 years, it was just, opportunity after opportunity after opportunity. It was just one of those total, like, you just don't get those opportunities.
Yeah.
Where I was able to grow so fast over 6.5 years, where I end up running marketing there towards the tail end, but it was a really cool experience.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was amazing, dude.
And it came down to you showing up and just like doing the thing.
Yeah.
Because so many people like have applied it a lot of my life recently because like so much of my life is just like being there. And I always tell people like nothing's going to happen for you in your house.
Yeah.
Like if you want things to happen, like no one's going to come.
No one's saying
applied to everything. It can be applied to making friends. It can be applied to romantic. It could be finding anything. It's not going to happen in your living room. No one's going to knock on your door.
Yeah.
In the same way, like, oh, you need to get to Japan because the team's there and the team will let you. Just show up.
Jump on a flight.
On a plane. Like, yeah. And it like it's not always going to work, but it's definitely not going to work if you don't try it.
You miss every shot you don't take.
Yeah.
Right. So if you don't take any shots, you're going to miss them all. Right. And the interesting thing about showing up is if you show up, and Nate Benner on our team, our VP of growth, he talks about this a lot. It's there's a Charlie Munger quote that he just did a presentation on this actually like 2 hours ago and talked about this quote, but it's like, stay in the game long enough that you get lucky. Right. And it's not even about lucky, but it's about showing up. Like you constantly just consistently show up because something's going to happen. You know what I mean? Like all these opportunities, you just show up. Obviously, sometimes you need to just put balls to the walls. And like in skating, like that, energy that you learn from skating is like, you're just going to fucking go for it. And we always call it breaking the ice. Like you'd go up to a handrail or a 16 stairs,
ollie that. Yeah.
You're not even trying to ollie it. You're just, I tell a lot of people I wasn't even a professional skateboarder. I was a professional carcass tosser. Like you got to break the ice. You're like, fuck it, 16 stairs. I'm just going to throw my body down. You're not trying to land anything.
Right.
Right. And then the next one, you're like, got it. You're like, cool. Yeah. Or a handrail, you're like, I'm probably going to nut in this first one. And then you'll do it second try.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's the same thing in like the business world. It's like, fucking just go for it.
You're going to professionally nut this rail.
Yeah.
But
obviously there's risk assessment. You're not going to do that on a 40, a 20 stair handrail because you might get hurt, so you're going to be a little bit more intentional, meticulous about it. But same thing with the business. You're not going to go do like a porn shoot for a backpack company.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yet.
But you take those kind of learnings. That's, I think with that background that I have was just totally different. That helped me like get really passionate. Obviously I have to be passionate about the product and the brand, but just go hard, dude.
Yeah.
Just do shit. Just get shit done.
And when it's like, I mean, to fast forward a little bit, just for sake of time, honestly.
It's all right.
No, I mean, this is all because I imagine this is like so much of the context. Because I mean, you go on to, work with so many amazing brands. I mean, like Black Diamond and Topo Design.
Yeah.
Until, Nomatic itself. And would love to hear kind of how that transition was and how you thought about joining that and kind of what some of the stuff you worked on there.
Yeah. So like, at the end of Goal Zero, I was there 6.5 years and we got acquired. I stayed 2 years longer to figure out what it was like to work for a Fortune 200 company. And then I was like, yeah, it's time for me to go. Yeah. Right. We're different owners. It wasn't the same thing. So Black Diamond was local, went over there for a year and it was awesome. Killers that worked there, like freaking still to this day, the people that worked there are fucking awesome. And then Topo approached me. And at the time, we had 3 kids. Okay. Right. So during all those years, we're going to Goal Zero, we're going to BD, working 78 hours a week, had 3 kids and got my bachelor's degree. So it was part of the reason I'm bald now. And then we were like, well, kids aren't in school yet. Maybe we should try something else. We were living in Salt Lake, I think like 7 years at that point. Right. And we were in Mill Creek at that last point. I was like, let's try something new. And so Topo was based in Colorado. They had an office in Fort Collins and in Denver. I was like, let's go check it out. I was like, environment-wise, not much different, but definitely different vibe.
Yeah.
Right. A lot of breweries, a little bit more diversity and stuff like that. So we ended up moving out there. And I like Topo too. And I literally still, since I left almost 5 years ago, I still have a monthly meeting with one of the founders.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. Our monthly one-on-one. So I was there for 3 years. Awesome. It was great. We started growing the brand. It was really good. Then COVID hit. Obviously 2020 was going to be the year for Topo. Like the marketing plan we had and the foundation, the energy we had built up behind the brand to take it was all there. All the recipe was there. It was ready to go. And then COVID hit. Like our marketing plan, it was so good, went out the window in 45 minutes. And this happened with everyone, right? Yeah. And so this goes into my transition to Nomatic. So unfortunately had to let go half the team, take on all those jobs, close all the offices down. I'm working in my bedroom, right? So 22 hours a day, I'm in my bedroom, sleep and work because you're doing all these jobs. Spend 2 hours with my family. Do that for 6 months. Started to lose my mind. Like, of course, right?
How do you not?
And COVID was fucking weird for all of us, right? We still haven't really talked about it. We still haven't really recapped.
We did talk about this, honey.
Can we just kind of like
later? Busy.
Yeah. Who's the worldwide therapist for this one? So it was Labor Day. We're come to visit my family, right? And we're super safe. Again, my wife's type 1, so we're like really safe, right? We come through but also it was like not as safe as wearing bubble outfits in the outdoors.
Yes.
You know what I mean? We drive to St. George and we pass through Cedar City and there's a full fucking football game going on. You're like, full stadium, dude. Full stadium. We get into St. George, there are like people at restaurants. So we're like, what the hell is going on? We still were wearing a mask and everything. But it was at that moment where I'm like, I'm working from home. I'm stuck in my bedroom. And then I saw my parents who at the time were like 78, 77. I'm like, they're getting old and we're far. Like it's an 11-hour drive.
Yep.
Right. So my kids see them once a year. I'm like, and it hit me of, I'm going to be pissed at myself in the future if my kids don't get time with their grandparents because I have a fucking job.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So we went and looked at one house and bought it.
Perfect.
And it happened to be, it was a house in downtown, small house, big yard, 1/3 of an acre. We have chickens. It's amazing. Got a mini ramp too.
Most important.
Walk in to look at this house and this kid I went to high school with.
Shut up.
Yeah. So we weren't even
like, it's funny to think about like that liberating moment in San Diego. We're like,
yeah,
nobody knows me. I can do whatever I want to.
100%.
I'm back right.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
But dude, it changes when you're older because when we first, I had to get out in those late teen and early 20 years. When I came back, late 20s, it was hard. It was hard for me because I was still kind of in party phase. We were raging there, come to Salt Lake, go to Vegas, go to California, whatever. But this second time coming back home when I'm older, it's kind of what we were talking about earlier. I'm like, I have kids now, right? It's a different mindset. So when I come back and I see my parents getting old, I'm like, dude, we got to get my kids down here. Also like into mountain biking, into golf, into skating still, hiking. I've been in the outdoor industry at that point 10 years. Have all the shit, climbing gear, everything.
Yeah.
I'm like, this seems like time now, right? So bought the house, went back to Colorado, talked to the founder and said, hey, we don't have our offices. Like, do I have to be here? And he's like, well, I guess not. I was like, cool, because I bought a house and I'm moving in 3 weeks. And he was cool with it. So we packed up quick. We wanted to get out before the winter. It got a lot colder in Fort Collins, like -10. And you'd get those Wyoming winds. So it'd be like brutally cold and ice on the ground.
The Wyoming winds.
Dude. And the hail there, bro.
No, thank you.
Golf balls. Yeah. Truck got totaled 1 year. We had to get a new roof, actually, because it was that bad from the hail. So we're like, let's get out before the winter. So we moved the end of October and come, and there was renters in our house at the time. So we lived with my parents for a couple months and start remodel. And they got out the renters, and then we started remodeling our house. And it turned into like, oh, we'll change out the carpet. Day 2, I'm knocking a load-bearing wall down. So stupid. So I'm here. We're in St. George for 2 months. I get hit up. I knew that Topo was going to want me to move back to Colorado, and I didn't really want to do that to the kids, right?
Right. You said like biding your time.
Biding my time. Yep, exactly. And that was our little evil plan. Don't tell Jed Rose at Topo, but so I got hit up by 2 brands at the time, which was Nomatic, who makes like fridges and stuff and RV equipment and things like that, and then Nomatic. And the 2 founders called me up. My brother actually from Goal Zero was like their kind of investor, but also he's their investor.
I can't hire you again. We talked about this.
Yeah, he's like their investor, but he's also like they're like he's like the chairman of the board basically, right? And he calls me first. He's like, hey, you're back in Utah now. He's like, he wanted me to move up here. But he's like, do you want to talk with the Nomatic guys? He's like, they need someone that understands brand and can build community, but also understands e-commerce. Well, that knows brand and can build community, but understands e-commerce. He's like, literally, I don't know really anyone but you. And now that you're back in Utah, I was like, yeah, let me talk with them. So I talked with those 2 dudes, and I was already talking with Nomatic. I was like in interview number 4. You know what I mean? Like they like literally offered me a job at that time. I was like, let me talk to the Nomatic guys. And the fact that Joe was involved too, like, have all the trust in the world with the guy. The dude is a straight up genius. And so talk with the dudes. I like the guys. They're really kind, but they were also kind of like somewhat like slightly nerdier for me at the time. And I was honest with them because I'm coming from Topo, and like Topo went from hipster brand to like we were starting to create it as an actual outdoor cool brand.
Right.
The crossroads between like streetwear, outdoor, and Japanese fashion type style. Topo pants right now. Yeah. Topo pants right now and a Nomatic shirt.
So on a Topo tangent.
Yeah.
I was in Disneyland as waiting in line as one does. And I see this guy with this, I can't remember if it was clothes or a bag. And I was like, it's kind of, because I'm a big fan of like Japanese fashion.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, that's kind of sick. And I pull up my phone. I'm like, totally. I was sitting there like scrolling the website for an hour. And so, yeah,
that's funny. Jed was always ahead of trends because he followed high fashion in Europe and Japanese fashion and Japanese outdoor. And so we always had things like 2 years too early.
Of course. Yeah.
So talking with those guys and they sent me some product, and it was based in Utah, and the Nomatic was based in Illinois, and they were going to want me to eventually move to Chicago, outside of Chicago. And I was like, I don't really want to do that.
Yeah.
And so talked to these guys, got the product. I'm like, dude, this product is wild. Like it is very, I call it approachable premium. Like where it's premium, but it's affordable.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Affordable premium doesn't always get as approachable premium.
Yeah. And
so talk what they need, and they told me what they need and everything. I was like, dude, this actually sounds like really, really up my wheelhouse. So decided to join Nomatic, started Jan 1, 2021. So I left Topo, again, still homies with all those guys. And then it was basically, balls to walls. Let's figure this thing out. Right. So I was coming up, still living in St. George. I was coming up every 2 weeks on a Tuesday, Monday and Tuesday, sleeping in the office. They actually didn't even know I was sleeping in the office for a while. They're actually,
it's okay. I'm used to that.
Yeah.
It's actually pretty luxury.
Yeah. I would like bring up a climate air mattress, and there was bathrooms there and everything. And so like I was sleeping in there. When they finally found out, they were like kind of a little weirded about it, but not weird. I was like, you guys, they're like, oh no, like grab an hotel room. I'm like, you guys, I literally would go on tours sleeping in bathtubs because it was the safest spot to sleep in. You know what I mean? I'm like, I have no problem doing this. So for the first while, I was doing a lot up and back. Like, I still come up here all the time, up here right now, but I'll still come up and back in a day drive. Like I'll drive 8.5 hours, 8 hours in the office. It's kind of gnarly, but so I started, and we were just going into a new Kickstarter, their second camera bag. That was my first Kickstarter I've ever worked on, and it was awesome. We did $2.2 million. Wow. It was insane. right? And these guys have built like really good product. There were some other issues we had to deal with before building up the brand side, like our operations needed a little refresh, customer service needed a refresh. We were 7-day response time on customer service. So I took that over. And it was really just a strategy and bandwidth thing. So, hired people. We got down to like a 30-second response time, 2-minute, 3-minute, depending on the channel. And so started to not build up the brand side yet, but started to get the relationships going, started to get, helping on the ops side, helping on making sure e-commerce was going. And then once the ops side started getting in, because the problem was you can't really build a brand in a community if your shipping, time is 2.5 weeks.
Yeah.
And then your customer service takes 7 hours or 7 days. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, it's just a crappy experience, especially when you have a premium product.
Yeah. Well, I mean, part of a brand is meeting expectations.
Totally.
And if you're not meeting expectations, then negative brand.
Yeah. So from end to end, that's what we did. We restructured the whole thing from what the ads look like to, and there's always opportunity even to this day, right? But product is good. So you get it to them on a time when they need it. They get the product, and everything after that is good too, right? We call it like, white glove service, concierge service, right? Like, we're going to treat our customers. They're spending $300 in a bag. We better be fucking awesome to them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Packaging looks good, the full experience. And so we just started going hard and building up. This is right coming out of COVID. So travel's still slow, right? Our camera collection is doing well, but luggage and travel bags aren't, right? They're at the beginning of 2021. Then as we get through part of 2021, revenge travel starts hitting back.
Just rubber bands this whole way.
Yeah.
Back. Everyone's getting the hell out of it.
They dipped down heavy in 2020. They almost went out of business.
Wow.
Right. But they launched their camera collection at the right time, like literally saved their business. And they launched it with a big YouTuber named Peter McKinnon. And it really helped them stay in business because it's a self-funded business. Right. Because Joe, who invested, was just, owners could take a little bit of chips off the table. It wasn't to fund the business. Mm-hmm. And so we go, and there was 2 people in the marketing team at the time too, really small stunts, Russell Steed and Nate Benner. So come in, we start growing. We grew 20% that year, 25%. And then 2022 hits, and that's when revenge travel came back. And it was, all my buddies in the outdoor space, that's when they started dipping. Because the outdoor space boomed during COVID. You got your check.
Yeah.
Then you're like, dude, I'm getting a new grill. I'm getting a camera. I'm getting some new skis. Yeah, let's go.
Everybody's
the only thing I could do is outdoors.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so when travel opened up, that was awesome for us. We grew 89% that year.
Wow.
Yeah. And we were still a small business, and these all sound like big numbers, but like for self-funded business grow 89% that's like kind of impossible, actually.
Yeah.
No line of credit, just straight.
Well, I mean, that's
what's right.
To that point of scale in any sort of business, I mean, you get outside funding, it's all going towards sales and marketing.
Yeah.
And scaling the business so it can support whatever sales and marketing can bring in.
We still haven't done that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so it's just been a fun ride. We started expanding product lines, added colors, some new luggage, a new category with apparel, worked. And we're in an interesting space because we came out the camera bag that opened up the door to creators for us. So prior to Nomatic, I've never really worked with YouTubers. I never did Kickstarter. It was all core outdoor stuff or skate, in the skate world, like action sports. So those are the industries I knew. Coming in here, I knew a little bit about travel because, we had travel bags at Topo and some small travel stuff at Black Diamond. But then I started working with YouTubers, and I'm like, dude, this world is wild.
Yes.
We did some stuff with Dude Perfect. We've done some stuff with Zach King. Worked with a lot of people, but the strategy at that point was, hey, we have a sick camera bag and we just came up with another one. Let's be the bag for creators.
Yeah.
So that was my strategy. Went hard. Seeding product.
And they're the people that if they like it, then next thing you know, it's like, oh, you like this bag? It's like my favorite bag in the world.
Totally.
You go get one.
Yeah. And a camera bag that has a lifetime warranty and is super durable and could throw in a Tesla going 70 miles an hour. Your camera stuff's fine. Awesome.
Yeah.
So that opened up a new learning experience for me is working with creators and this level of that world is mind blowing of how much money they make. And how much influence they have.
Oh yeah.
And so that's been really cool over here. Yeah, let's start. You ask me questions about Nomatic.
Yeah, I mean, it's just I just love you're just go-to attitude, your ability to just roll up your sleeves, but then also just go through hard things and also be like, hey, I'm the VP of marketing, but I'm gonna go sleep in the office and just not have this. Pretentious probably isn't the right word, but just also and I also love that you remember every single person along the way and they're her actual homies. It's not all right, well, thanks for the card of wishing me well on my next job.
Yeah.
Dude, follow me on LinkedIn.
I've helped people on my team get jobs.
Yeah.
Like when they're like, dude, I'm not happy. I'm like, let's get your job, bro.
Yeah, let's go.
Let's find you something. What do you want to do? Where do you want to move? You know,
It's just like
happened a couple
when you
times.
talked to your brothers and you came back.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, what have you been working on?
Yeah.
Tell me about this. What do you want?
I mean, dude, it's about being real. Like I've said this on other things I've done, but it's like real recognizes real. Authenticity. I even hate using that word, but it's like there's, you know, when you get in the corporate world, and this was hard for me, especially the Utah corporate world, the bubble is coming up because I've always been a real person, and it's especially, you know, like when I was learning social and all these things, we're in Bluffed out the office. So you're going to these like conferences with all these tech companies, and like you've worked in the world, you know how the world is. There's a lot of good people there, but it was really hard for me to like accept that world and still be me, but
still have to live in that world.
Yeah.
People exist.
Yeah. I mean, it's we all grow up differently, right? And I didn't come out of high school for a corporate career. I didn't get into what I'm doing now as a corporate career. I did it because I was passionate and it was fun.
Yeah.
And I could learn things. It wasn't like, you know, your normal thing where it's like, I'm going to go to college and I'm going to be a career marketer. Like, I don't even talk.
But that's like how it works out so much better. Because like so many people, again, like going back to that moment in San Diego where it's like, oh, I can do anything.
Yeah.
Nobody knows me.
Yeah.
And once you realize, like, again, you transition from being born and raised in this place in St. George, this micro bubble there where everybody knows you.
Crazy bubble.
So much of the motivation and like influence that they have over you, again, like even just missions, like, oh, it's because I'm in this place and they want me to do it.
Yeah.
But once you can realize like, oh, my journey is my own, I can create my own future, and then have enough data points of like that working out.
Yeah.
The world is your oyster.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter anymore because you realize and you have enough data points that if I'm just myself and I don't compromise on that, everything else will work out.
Yeah.
Because the right people will come in, the right opportunities.
Yeah.
And this flywheel of being yourself.
Yeah.
But so many people are so beholden to this moment of like,
I gotta be like this.
Exactly.
I gotta be like,
here's the plan and I just have to do it.
Yeah.
Until they get to a point, and like just turned 35 and I have so many friends. It's like, I don't know how I got here. I don't know why. I don't like this. I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
Because they've just been following like, yeah, here's what I'm going to do. Here's this. I'm not going to ask any questions.
Yeah.
And so a lot of people who at the wrong stage are very intimidated by that because it's so antithetical to anything that they've done.
Yeah.
But at the same time, they're like gravitated towards it because it's so novel.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, like you're their favorite person.
Yeah.
Because like you're the person that they want to be, but can't be because of their like, internal conflict.
I feel bad for saying some of this stuff. Like, I'm not trying to knock on anyone. It's just different for me. Like the corporate world.
And a lot of people are successful in it.
Dude, this is what I will say. Coming from skate to Goal Zero, which is the most opposite of corporate world. It's in skate. It was the only way I could have eased into this world.
Yeah. Because
we were a startup and it was moving fast and it was get shit done. We're having fun. We had a strong culture. Morale was high. The energy, it was, I mean, I guzzled the Kool-Aid. You know, you'll hear this from people.
It was the right flavor of Kool-Aid.
It was the best Kool-Aid. I mean, we were literally changing people's lives because we were doing all this give back stuff, you know? Like, dude, you built a school with Dell in freaking Tanzania. Like, that was sick.
Yeah.
Right? So I was drunk off the Kool-Aid. It was the way for me to get in that corporate world. So those years at Goal Zero going from, you know, new hire that were all like mentors to me, that came from bigger businesses where like, hey, these are the terms, this is the reporting, this is this. I eased into all that over time. And so I was able to use it, but that wasn't, you know, I didn't go and get an MBA. I didn't come out of school like knowing what to do.
Thank God you didn't go to a place where it's like, oh, right, now here's the perfect way to write an email.
There's no way I would have lasted. Yeah. That's the thing. Like, there's no other company or other opportunity that I would have made it this far if it wasn't that Goal Zero one.
Yeah.
Like, it was just right moment, right time, dude.
Yeah.
Like, straight up.
Again, you kept putting yourself out there, getting the bats, having the right things, and it works out.
Yeah. And then when we got acquired, I worked for a Fortune 200 company and really figured out real quick how much red tape is involved in reporting.
Yeah.
I was spending 70% of my time reporting.
Yeah. You're like, pendulum swing too far that way.
Yeah. Like, you're not using my strength because my strength is not reporting.
Yeah. Yours is
again, skateboarder, you know, anti-authoritarian.
That's why it works out. But I mean, I guess like on the last topic of Nomatic before we get into wrapping up, but like, I mean, what are you working on now? What are you looking forward to with Nomatic specifically?
Yeah, I mean, Nomatic's at a really interesting and fun stage just because it's 11 years old. Like, it's been here for a while.
Yeah.
Right? And it started with one product. It was Wallet. The two cousins had $200. They came up with the concept of a Utah Jazz game just down the road. And they're like, hey, maybe we could do this. Threw it on Kickstarter. It did 120,000 or something like that. 170,000. And so they're like, oh, crap. We can make more product. And so, for the first 6-7 years of Nomatic, it was like dog years. It was like one product every like 12 months. And it was a Kickstarter, right? We've done 15 Kickstarters. And then about 4 or 5 years ago is when we started speeding it up. And we're like, hey, we actually have something here. You know what I mean? Like there was a brand, it was very niche brand, small audience base, but still doing well, profitable, big Kickstarters, things like that. Now we're at a phase where we're going omnichannel. It's I would almost said full omnichannel. We're growing it. So we're coming out in Costco with an SMU, a special product for Costco, a bag that's pallet. So the palletized, the pallet wraps that you'll see in Costco. We're going out. We did a test with 14 doors last fall. That was successful. So we're coming out, I think it was like 120 doors.
Wow.
We're in like 350 camera stores. So we're rolling out into retail, which is great. I mean, post e-com world and the late 2010s, whereas everyone's D2C. It's changed a lot. I mean, retail has struggled a lot just because of post-COVID, but there are retailers who are killing it. We just got back on Best Buy, right? So we have a bag in Best Buy now. We're in Dillard's. We're opening up countries. We're just locking in Japan. We have Korea already. We've had a separate brand in Europe called Nomatic due to a trademark infringement issue. They're called Trademark Terrorists. They sue everyone they can, but we actually worked out a deal with them. So we're rolling Nomatic back out in Europe in March. And so that's going to be awesome that we don't have to deal with two brands. So the UK will do really well. We already do well with the secondary brand. UK, Europe, we'll open up Mexico soon. We just opened up Canada at a bigger way. So we're opening up retail. So the expansion of the brand is what's fun for me.
Yeah.
And because it gives you opportunities. So like, Sean from Ridge Wallet says this best on how you grow a brand is more people, more places, more product. Right? So get in front of more people, come out with more product, whether it's categories, SKUs, whatever it is. That doesn't mean you have to get inflated by product. You have to have a good life cycle management, right? So you're coming in with this color, whether it's seasonal or this product, now we got updated version, things like that. And the more places one is exciting because as a self-funded Kickstarter brand to then e-com with Shopify to then global footprint. And we're not fully global footprint, but that's the mode we're in right now, right? Like we are entering that phase. And the work we've been doing on the brand side for the last 4 years to get us set up for this is really exciting. Like we have all these really good relationships. We work with Chris Williamson from the Modern Wisdom podcast, Peter McKinnon, still at the camera bag. Huberman was rocking our bag. Dude Perfect all rock our bag. Like, we're not big enough where we could afford deals with all these guys. We do have one with Modern Wisdom, but we are the bag for creators. And we have great relationships. We have a lot of energy. And that's like the thing I like try to focus on. And it's hard to put a number to it. You could put it on like brand awareness and stuff like that, but building energy behind a brand, right? I'll give you one example. This is when I first realized there's actual energy behind the brand. This is really ethereal too when I talk about this, but I remember because I'm a brand guy, I'm from skating, right? We were friends with the Skull Candy guys early on because when I went into Goal Zero, I hit up a bunch of people over there, right? And so I was like really into it. They sponsored skaters. Lizard was on them and rock the headphones.
Especially in Utah. It was such an iconic.
It was huge. Yeah. I remember one day I went to Best Buy and I was looking at their display because I was doing some market research stuff. And I picked up one of their headphones. I'm like, weird, I don't feel anything. I'm a really like kind of empathetic, sensitive type of person like that.
Yeah.
It's weird to say this shit. It sounds super hippie right now, but
I
didn't feel anything. Right? I'm like, that's weird. I've been so into this brand. Later that day, I find out they fired almost every skateboarder and snowboarder. They left 4 people and they hired all the Victoria's Secret models.
Wow.
And it was because there is an energy behind your brand from a culture standpoint that can get wiped out immediately.
Yeah.
And Skull Candy had a really hard time for a couple of years. They're coming back now with Brian and Justin is the VP marketing over there. They're building that back up. But I remember
how many years did it take?
Tons.
Yeah.
So basically they lost their soul.
Yeah.
That's how it felt to me. And so that was my first realization where I'm like, whoa, brands have souls. They have energy. And like, how do you build that? Because like in this corporate world, like you can't put an ROI on that, but you actually can't. That's what builds the longevity of a brand, the profitability of a brand, right? Because we're not in commodity, we're in community.
Yeah.
Right. It's a different wheelhouse. And so the way that I've always built brands at every brand I've gone to is like I start with it's all relationship based at first. I go to as many events as I can. I talk with people. I get in with the key people, whether it's the buyers, whether it's the athletes, ambassadors, depending on the category and the industry you're in, and create real relationships and create excitement where like you see them, they see you, they're like, Nomatic boys, Like, and like every brand I've done that at, and it's like, and it's real. That's the thing, is like, I have to be like really passionate, really excited about this stuff, because that relationship, the energy I bring out of my body and put into the brand is real, and people, you can feel it. And other people do this too. Like GoPro did this early days. Yeah. Like a lot of brands, there's a lot of people that have that same mentality that do that. And it really works, dude. Like, I think that's the big difference on building a brand, is you have to build energy and momentum behind it.
Yeah.
It's kinetic energy.
Yeah.
Once it's going, I mean, it could fall apart very quickly, and it doesn't start off the bat. It doesn't start fast. It takes a while.
Yeah.
Like, it's taken a bit to get more and more energy in these different categories we're in with Nomatic, but it's not just me. Like, the team is doing this. Like, I try to get everyone out at events, try to get, at one point we had every employee calling customers, called the Voice of the Customer program, like, hey, how was the order? Did you get it? How did you like the product?
That's the best way to market. If you don't know what your customers are saying and thinking about a product,
100%.
Gonna market.
Dude, that's the only way. It's the empathy model. Like, I heard a podcast the other day with one of the CEO at 97.4, which was more like a B2B agency. He was talking about the model that they do when they put like campaigns together and stuff like that for brands they work with. It's called PIE. Profitability, innovation, empathy. But they flip it. Empathy, innovation, profitability. Who is the customer? What are their needs? What's the gaps, right? How do they feel? Really be empathetic for that customer. Innovation, how do you be different than everyone else? And then just make sure it's profitable.
Wow.
Yeah, it's great. It was like one of those, I'm like, I didn't learn this in my freaking marketing degree. Like, they didn't teach me this in Dixie for life. But it was like one of those models where, yeah, totally. Like, it goes back to even the real recognized real. Like, when I go to shows and stuff, and I've taught this with the team, and some of the team already had this, is like, dude, we're homies with people. I don't call them customers. These are friends.
Yeah.
Even if we just met them, ask them where they're from.
Yeah. Don't just be
what are they doing?
Soulless person. Don't tell me about the product.
Not at all, dude. I'm not wearing pleated pants with I'm wearing a polo right now, but you know what I'm saying? Like, pleated pants tucked in polo. Like, no, we're having fun. We're meeting people. We're going to really like get to know them. These are homies, dude. Mm-hmm. Like, straight up. That's how you start to build that. And then you understand it from the marketing side, on the empathetic side of like, how do we talk with people? How do we stoke people out? How do we change? How do we help amplify their life? Because we know our product is really good. How do we help get that into it so that they have that confidence, basically? Yeah. So, very brain dumpy.
No, I about it. James, this has been amazing. There's only like one or two conversations I've gone into where I'm like, okay, that like either was what I expected or worse. Like, more often than not, I'm like, that's what I needed. Like a week, like we're recording on a Friday. It's like end of day. I'm like, this is what I needed to energize me out of anything else. So, this has been amazing. Stoked.
Lots of good stuff coming out of Nomatic. We do have apparel, currently a small line. Yep. We're coming out with some more apparel products in October, like a soft shell jacket, this polo long sleeve, a really new custom fabric for us for hoodies. We're working on some more bags, and then just expansion and product, and just trying to get the best product out there to people, because our product is the best.
I mean, I've yet to have anybody say they like, oh, I had a bag, wasn't for me, or I didn't like this.
Yeah.
Always people like become obsessed with it.
That's cool.
But want to wrap up with the two questions I always ask everybody at the end of each episode. Number one, if you could have someone on the podcast and hear more about what they're up to, their story, who would you want to hear from?
Here in Salt Lake?
Yeah.
Or this area?
Somewhere related to.
Man, there's some legends here, bro. Like, because of, again, a lot of like early mentors for me that changed my life live here. Benny Pellegrino, please have him on.
Yep.
So he was Milo Sport. Then he's now, I think he's doing Nitro and Autumn headwear.
Got it.
Legend.
Yeah. I mean, Milo alone is the most like one of the iconic spots.
Dude, get Benny on, bro. Okay. Like, text me if you want him on. I'll intro you. Benny is a shit. Lizard King would be great too.
Oh, I'd love to talk.
Lizard is hilarious. Like, I've emceed like events and contests with him. It is the funnest shit you'll ever do.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So, dude, honest, I mean, there's so many. Like Jared Smith too, local mural artist. I mean, man, there's so many. But Benny's a good one because he's came from the East Coast. He was a skateboarder and a snowboarder. Milo, I mean, what's happened in the snowboard industry, like, a lot of that's on Benny's back.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, those were the people that built it when it was showing up in Salt Lake. And it's like, these custom shop owners like, all right, I guess
the core, dude.
The ones doing it.
And now he's doing, these other brands, like, local big brands. Lizard comes back and forth all the time from LA, where everyone, including Benny and anyone in Salt Lake, has been trying to convince him to move back to Salt Lake for years. Yeah. He wants to. Okay. He wants to. So those two, I would say you should definitely have them on. Yeah. They're both legends here. Obviously in the business world, different. Lizard is a Utah legend.
Oh,
he's in a video game.
If you go to any kid at a skate park or anybody holding a skateboard, like, oh, like, Lizard King, and they're like,
Yeah.
You're like, throw that away.
Yeah.
Home, do something else.
They don't remember my name anymore. I'm too far away, but Lizard they remember.
Because like even growing up, like rollerblading and going to skate parks all the time, like I knew who people were. Like I would never, and like skate parks were so much like a therapeutic thing for me that I'm never like, what's your name?
Yeah.
And I'd be like, oh yeah, there's like Lizard, or like the name that a lot of people talk about right now in skating. It's all like Tyson Bowerbang.
Tyson's awesome.
Yeah.
So good.
And so it's like,
Really
it's fun to see that there's still kind of this like passing of the guards happening, where you still have old heads like Lizard King who still comes around. And still these kids that are still come up and do shit.
But like on the building business side, and like in part of that community here, like Benny Pellegrino and Jeff Richards.
Okay.
So Jeff started Autumn Headwear.
Okay.
But he was like at Milo for a while, a snowboarder too. But they're building businesses here.
Yeah.
I mean,
everybody grew up.
Yeah, totally. I mean, and then obviously, like within the other business world, there's so many.
Yeah,
I mean, there's
great people.
The thing about Utah is there's so many killers out here, bro. Like it's entrepreneur capital. Like literally, I thought of two businesses just walking here. I think it's just because of in Salt Lake,
the energy.
100%. It's wild.
I don't disagree.
Yeah, there's a lot of like Alex MacArthur. I was just hanging out with him. He's Purple Kizik now over at Tafalo. He's local. Yeah, I was thinking like skate snow world, but now when I'm thinking business world, I'm like,
I don't pigeonhole anything. I like.
Has Mike been on? Mike Clark?
No, I want to though.
He would be a great one.
He's on so much.
There's a couple other ones. Casey Jarvis at Black Diamond and Dan Rowe on the product side. Great. Casey just moved back. He was the chief design officer at Under Armour.
Yeah.
Now he's the chief brand officer at Black Diamond.
Crazy.
He'd be a great one.
People are killers.
Dude, text me. I can send you a list
too.
Yeah.
And then lastly, if people want to follow you, and then also if you want to find Nomatic, what's the best place to keep in touch with?
I mean, easy place for Nomatic. Follow us on Instagram at Nomatic. Follow me. I don't post a lot. I usually just reshare stuff from my wife.
Sure.
So if you can follow me on Instagram. It's AT_KIN or on LinkedIn.
Cool.
Yeah. So just James Atkin on LinkedIn.
Yeah. James, this has been phenomenal.
It's been fun.
I love hearing all the stories.
I did talk a lot and I did brain dump a lot.
It's a podcast. Are we not?
Yeah, totally. Let's get potty.
Yes, exactly.
Don't be toddy for the potty.
Yes. I would rather take people that I can listen to instead of trying to pull words out of their mouth.
Yeah, we kind of crammed a bit in there for a little bit.
Yeah,
we could honestly probably go for 2 more hours.
Oh, I that's the thing with me is like I talk for people about anything forever.
Yeah. Thank you for having me.
No, this is awesome.
Seriously.
I always love when it goes from like, hey, I think you should be on a podcast to like, and here we are.
Yeah, totally. We're here. Yeah, Small Lake Pod.
Awesome.
Let's go.
Dude, so good. Thank you so much for listening to this week's episode of Small Lake City Podcast. Don't forget to like, follow, review, subscribe, and share this episode with your friends. And we'll catch you next week. We'll see you there.